All right, we are live for Tesla earnings today. We got Q4 Tesla results. Boeing. Wow, dude, look at Boeing just rip up. I'm going to have to take some profit in Boeing, man. That thing has gone up a lot today. You love to see it. Let's put some music on and prepare for Tesla earnings. It's been a while, man. I'm excited to have earnings season back and ready. Today we have Tesla Q4 earnings coming out, so I want you to vote on the poll. Let me know how you feel about these. Hit the like button on your way in. We appreciate it. We'll get the expectation numbers. You know, the earnings will be here. We'll stream the full earnings call live. What's up, Samuel K? Boeing, man, I gotta take some profit. Hey, my guy, thanks, brother. I appreciate the donation, man. Thanks so much. We're gonna go ahead and take a little bit of profit on Boeing. I think we have to, right? I mean, it's at 217. Our average price is 205 in this, so I think we gotta take some profit in Boeing. No, I mean, look, just to show you my current position here. Again, I bought Boeing after this big dip. Like, everybody was saying Boeing was a dumpster fire. I was happy to scoop up some shares with this. We only got we'll take a little bit more. I don't know how much, but we're going to take maybe half of the position off up here. Oh, wait. Well, how many left should we hold? I mean, we'll take a little bit more off. We'll hold 10 shares left and just kind of let the rest work. Might as well take it. Tesla actually slightly red on the day at 208. We'll see if this influences earnings, the extension of this moving into earnings. We'll see. Nvidia, guys, just absolutely skyrocketing today. Look at Nvidia. Nvidia up to 630, basically. Right around 630. Almost there. So just kind of a crazy move. Kind of a crazy move. We'll see if it continues. Again, I don't know. Sorry about earlier. I know Pawn said we had some technical difficulties or whatever was happening early, so we had Carol on stream. I had to do donuts with Dad, and look, I mean, what's the point of being on YouTube for a job if you're not going to go visit with your kids when you can? And so we did donuts with Dad this morning, and Carol made it work. You know what I mean? Carol made it work. Let me know any suggestions for Carol. I just got to teach her a little bit more about the stock market is all it is. Nvidia closer to 650 than 500s. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people that bought put options in the 400s for Nvidia. They're probably struggling right now, just unhappy. Look at Tesla. So the other interesting part is Tesla's right around that previous closing price. Right around that previous close. Again, you'll hit the like button. Yeah. Nvidia closer to 650s than 500s. That is true, sir. That is true. Honestly, it's getting up there, man. Again, I try to tell people, again, the biggest flaw, the biggest mistake, the biggest fallacy in people's logic is they think that everything that goes up in blue chips must come down, and that's just not the freaking truth, bro. Blue chips are super strong. They do not have to come back down. These are the strongest companies in the world. That's like saying none of these companies are going to grow anymore relative to where they are, and that's just it's a fallacy. People get really short biased and push, but, in the end, markets have been churning. Really, the NASDAQ looks pretty neutral today if we're taking a look at it. Here's the NASDAQ, or it looks like a Head and Shoulders-esque pattern to me on a 5-minute chart. We'll see if it continues down or whatever, but I don't know. Tesla earnings are going to have a lot to do with it. We also, I believe, have IBM earnings today. IBM, right? Yeah, Tesla expecting 74-cent profit per share, 74-cent profit. EPS. on revenue of, yeah, so on revenue of 23.17 billion is what they're expecting here. Let's take a look. We'll also do a poll live like we always do. Will Tesla beat or miss their Q4 earnings? Beat, miss, as expected. I have no idea what I'm talking about. There's the poll options. We're going to do a Twitter poll like we do here as well. All right, we're gonna do a poll. Let's see, we got beat, miss. We're gonna keep it short and sweet. We'll put 2 hours, the length, post that here. We got our poll live there as well. Beat. Ken Fitzgerald has NVIDIA price target at 2024 for 775. I think it's possible for 2024. I don't know if it's gonna hit that level, but I think it's certainly like possible. Whether it will, whether it won't is a different story. Most of the rest of the market, like I'm green on my portfolio today. Netflix and Boeing are certainly helping my positions. Microsoft ain't hurting it either. Microsoft up nicely today as well. You know. So, and we've been scaling out of some profit, like we do here. John, can you give us your argument on why they would beat or why they would miss? I mean, I don't know if there's really like a predicting argument, to be honest here. I think, I mean, just to be literal with it, I think if they beat, they were more profitable than expected. I think it depends on what they expect. Like, I think the big thing is going to be potential guidance into this year. Like, what's the rest of this year going to look like? What are the guidance expectations moving forward? What Cybertruck numbers are they going to speak about today on the earnings call? That's what I want to know. I want to know what the Cybertruck earnings are going to be prior. You know, that's the big tell. Like, does anybody have any guesses on what the Cybertruck earnings? Cybertruck debuted in November, in late November. So less than 3 months ago, the Cybertruck went live. The question now, you know, the specific question is, did it do well in sales so far? You know, Elon had previously mentioned a few bearish, what I would call bearish things, specifically that, you know, the Cybertruck was going to take a while to really achieve like good margins and profits for Tesla. Like, it's going to take a while for the Cybertruck to have a positive influence on Tesla as a company. He said it would take years, most likely. And so now that the Cybertruck is out, has that tune changed a little bit? What does he think moving forward? I think that's the big thing to look at. Hey, what's up, Shepard? 25,000 new car. Hope Tesla beats. They keep running it down so badly. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's cheap right now. Maybe it's not. I'm in Tesla as well. You guys know me. I'm a Tesla holder. You know, it's at 208. I mean, I think I took a little bit of profit off of it a few days ago. I kind of add on dips and take profit on bounces and then keep a base position is what I usually do with it. I don't know what it's going to do here. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Boeing, though, looking lovely today. Amazon flat. I think Apple is ripping up. Disney is up as well some today. Or no, it's up over the last few days. Apple is neutral. I think a lot of stuff's waiting for Tesla earnings. And we also have IBM. Remember, guys, we got IBM, Las Vegas Sands, a couple other companies. Nothing really big, but IBM and Tesla, very big companies, very relevant companies. We got American Airline, Humana tomorrow. Tomorrow we got big stuff coming out too. We got GDP data, jobless claims, durable goods. Friday we've got PCE data. I'm trying to think if I remember this right. I think Friday we got PCE data. So if you don't know what PCE is, it's the personal consumption expenditure. It's a gauge on inflation. It's the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. We talk about it a lot here on this channel. So yeah, it's the Fed's preferred inflationary gauge. And so, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see what happens. I'm ready for the earnings to come out. And again, we'll see if they show up positively or not. What do you guys think? Do y'all like my new thumbnails, man? We got a new thumbnail guy. We're trying them out. We'll see what the views look like with him. I think they're pretty solid thumbnails, you know? Tesla bouncing up to 209s right now, right at that previous close. You know, Tesla, if you don't know, you know, specific technical levels, this previous closing price level right here, this light blue line, is super relevant level. The reason it's relevant is because that's the red to green level. So we're looking at the red to green level, the level at which it goes from red to green, green to red on the day. That's a level that traders tend to pay attention to. And so with that, that's, you know, where we're right around Tesla is right around that level now. Nvidia, again, crazy day for Nvidia. Here's the Q itself. Q up to 270 or 427.12 here. Yeah, Netflix, crazy big move. I'm in Netflix as well. Netflix killed it with earnings yesterday. They did great. Netflix up to freaking 550s. My average price on Netflix right now is $384. So you love to see it. You just love to see it. I mean, I've been telling people about Netflix for a while, and I had a good argument. You know, I'm pretty sure there was some regular member of the stream who told me that he bought Netflix. Maybe it was a call option. I can't remember what it was, based off of my argument for it. And again, I don't ever want people to freaking copy me. Like, I don't want anybody to copy me necessarily, but if they made money on it, great. Like, I'm happy for them. My argument with Netflix is very simple. And I talked about this like a month or two ago. Netflix, you know, it's had a tough comeback. Like, Netflix was all the way up to 701s, like $700 a share. And it had a pretty big downfall here, a pretty big, like, downfall. Like, it struggled really bad. You know, it took a long time to get back up here. Finally fought its way back up. And so, but it's still not, it's still kind of on a rebound, I would say. So I don't mind it. I'm still in it. I'm holding it. I think they shocked the world and beat. Rate cuts helped the call sound bullish as well. Let's not forget Netflix. Man, I sold 17 contracts of Boeing right before it went up. I sold for a profit, but should have held longer. Yeah, I mean, typically, I'm usually like, I try to scale in and out of positions. And so with Boeing, I'm holding some. My average price is like 205, I think, right now. And again, this is after taking some profit. You know, so like I got in at 205s. And again, I mean, pulling back, like, easy bounce position here. You got the whole dollar of 200, just a big psychological level. Like, you got to think about what's in investing, like what are in investors and traders' minds. One of them is that it's pulling back to a big round, like pretty looking hold number, $200, and so it's very likely we had a very big pullback. You know, we're dropping like 20% here from 250 to 200. You know, from, yeah, so we're dropping like from 250 to 200, we're dropping roughly 20, and so with that, we've got a significant drop. Boeing had a bad catalyst, but it's still the alpha airplane company. I mean, we talked about Airbus earlier, but I don't know if there's really any other significant competitors to Boeing like that. And so even if Airbus gets big or whatever, I still think Boeing's going to be fine. I think they're, you know, I'm not going to say they're too big to fail, but I think they're pretty safe. But again, who knows? Who knows? I just don't know if people are going to want to experiment with different airplanes. Like, I think they're going to stay with what's been working. Yeah, Netflix, one of the reasons Netflix is up is because Netflix is doing a deal with WWE Raw Monday, or I think it's like Raw. It's one of their first live events. It's going to be, I wish, you know, they need to get like UFC deals or something. I'm not really about professional wrestling. Not against you if you are, like, live your life, but, you know, it's just not my thing. But I'd be down if they did the UFC or something like that. And I think that's a smart move. I think Netflix, again, Netflix had such a big pullback. One of the reasons I liked it and I bought it, and again, my average price on Netflix is like $384.50, is because Netflix is putting out their own movies. You're starting to see that kind of snowball into more movies and more movies that they're producing. Bigger stars being a part of their movies, and you've seen this for really about the last 5+ years. The crackdown on password sharing had a negative effect initially, and so you got some extension to the downside there. You had some overreactions to earnings, and I just thought it looked like a cheap little dip, and it was. But again, we'll see if it continues back up. Oracle also doing well today. We're in Oracle. Yes, correct. PK. That's right. So the data, the actual earnings release is out at 4. It's like 4:10. So the actual earnings for Netflix are out at like, or for Tesla, I mean, are out at 4:10. The earnings call is going to be at 5:30. We got 52 votes already on Twitter. We asked people, will they beat or miss? 58% roughly think they're going to beat. 42% think they're going to miss. Let's look at our YouTube numbers here. Roughly the same thing. Let me see. Wait. No, so it's kind of reversed. Not quite reversed. I just gave more options here. Most people think they're going to beat 30, about the same percentages. 43% on YouTube think they're going to beat. We got about 100 votes on YouTube. 34% think they're going to miss. 7% think as expected. 15 honest folks saying I have no idea what I'm talking about. Hey, and listen, that's me too. Listen, I have no idea what I'm talking about either, guys. Listen, we can join the club. Hey, what's up, Sam? For real, how can you predict this? I'm stressing charts indicate 240. It doesn't fall below 200. You can't. Unless you got insider info. Nobody freaking knows if earnings are going to come in good or bad. You know, people that are holding Tesla are going to say it's going to beat. People that are shorting Tesla are going to say it's going to miss. Outside of that, it's just flipping a coin, man. You know, I'm always a big believer in not taking super, like, and I know it's not the cool thing to do. I know this, man. You know, I know it's not the cool thing to do. All right. Like, I know the cool thing to do on YouTube is to take a bunch of gambly positions ahead, like around economic reports and earnings. If I win big, I post it on social media and act like I'm a freaking genius. If I lose, I just don't even say anything about it and just never, you know, I'm just going to go talk about something else. And I'm sorry, I'm not cool like that. But I'd rather just be honest and tell you that taking huge positions around earnings like this, as well as taking huge short-term positions and options and everything like this around economic data, is a huge gamble. Like, go play roulette if that's what your thing is, you know. And again, I'm not judging you. Make your money. Live your life, you know. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm just dumb. I don't know. Big money call March, but must wants more shares and numbers point to disappointing earnings. Maybe. We'll see. Again, what's going to specifically influence everything, James, in my opinion, is the Cybertruck update. I'm assuming Elon's going to talk about the Cybertruck during this call today. And if he does, is he going to say optimistic things regarding the Cybertruck? You know, traders, investors tend to pick apart everything he says. Even some small nuance of negativity might influence the stock in a negative way. And again, we just don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. I don't touch Tesla because a bunch of their cars could. Yeah, but at the other end of that, Steven, you also have to understand that there's also, okay, so the easiest way to put this is that you have sensationalism on both sides, Steven, right? And I'm not, like, I'm holding Tesla, so of course maybe my bias is that I'm holding it. I want it to go up. But you got to understand, there's also negative sensationalism from Tesla. Like, you got to think big oil runs the world, brother. So, like, what's the biggest threat to oil? EV companies, to a certain extent. Like, they'll try to twist it and act like that's not really the problem or whatever it is, and get retail against EVs so that they can have a more longevity in markets. But I wouldn't put it past a lot of these big oil corporations to put out, you know, lobbyists, of course, and everything else you could think of to try to discourage people from adopting EV. And I think EV is simply more efficient than everything else. I think they're faster. The mileage is better. They mesh better with technology. I think it's the future, you know. The emissions are better. The big downfall of them, and I hear this argument all the time, is that mining lithium is terrible. You know, but mining lithium is something that's going to happen regardless of whether EVs take off. We need lithium for drones. Drones are freaking huge now. How do you think the batteries operate with drones? It's lithium batteries. It's the same thing. And so to a certain extent, we're going to mine lithium regardless of it. And so we might as well build something that has better emissions, in my opinion, that meshes better with technology, that has better mileage, that is faster and more efficient, you know? And I mean, I'm saying this as somebody that used to love racing cars. Right now, a Cybertruck will beat a freaking twin turbo Supra. right now. You know, it's almost not even fun anymore. But again, it's the future of technology. I think you gotta call a spade there. What is turning around on my portfolio? Is it Tesla? It is Tesla. Tesla is dipping a little bit. I'm still up on the day, but yeah, there's definitely a concentrated effort to mess with them. I just hate volatility. Oh, and Tesla's incredibly volatile. Yeah, I mean, I certainly like, I'm not going to, yeah, I don't want to get too in depth about what I have or what I drive or anything. But I love the sound of some of the cars, and I would miss it if I went to EV. I'm going to get one day. I just don't have one right now. And I think oil's still going to be fine. Like, we're always going to need lubrication. Regardless of whether they're EVs or not, you're always going to need oil. Not even, I mean, you might lose or gain margins from that. I'm not against oil. I think you're always going to need oil. But I think over time, technology evolves, and I think electronic vehicles are probably the future in that. But again, maybe I'm wrong. Again, there's definitely some speed bumps along the way. I think anytime you have a new technology that's being adopted, I think you're always going to have speed bumps to a certain extent. Like right now, one of the biggest ones that people talk about is charging. You know, you got to wait in lines to charge, and it takes a long time, and it's not efficient or whatever it is. But over time, those things are going to get better. I mean, those are just speed bumps along the way of adopting new technologies. But again, we'll see what happens. Boeing pulling back a little bit to the volume-weighted average price. Let's take a look at the Q here. Q at 426.20s here, 426.20s. What's up, Deacon? Y'all remind me to switch my headphones before 5:30. Alright, we can do this. There we go. Oil up a little bit today. Oil is up some. Alts are still pricey though. What number? Give me your EPS reading. What EPS do you think Tesla comes out at? What EPS does Tesla report today? Give me your number. Expected 74 cents EPS profit. Expected 74 cents. Will they beat that, miss that? What do you guys think? EPS, again, if you don't know earnings, EPS is a gauge on profitability. So EPS is how profitable the company ultimately is. If the company is more profitable, it has a higher EPS, or a more positive EPS, I should say. If the company is less profitable, it'll have a smaller EPS gauge relative to expectations, or a potentially negative one if they're losing money. Revenue is kind of the ceiling that they have. So revenue is the ceiling of income they're bringing in, you know, like potential income. And a lot of the time, though, specifically with earnings, revenue is a little bit more influential metric is how I'll label it. When we see mixed results like EPS beat but revenue miss, a lot of the time the market action is going to drop in whatever stock it is. So revenue trumps EPS in my opinion in terms of influence over price. But again, maybe I'm wrong. Let me see what the chat says. I have no idea. 82 cents beat 420. Tesla bleeding out. Yeah, I mean, the rough chart, if you look at it right now, is a 20-day chart. That's a 20-day chart. Look at that chart. That's a rough one. Hit 265s. Everybody thought Tesla was back. It's just so volatile. Tesla moves 20% normally throughout normal price action, which just makes it an outlier in terms of stocks. Very few blue chip healthy companies move this volatile. But Tesla does, and it always has. If you look at like a long-term chart, you know, it's always maintained a pretty big range up and down. So, you know. Tesla reports drop at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, All right, so 530. Put this number up on screen. This is kind of all their broad expectations here, team. IBM, yeah, IBM reports earnings today for sure. IBM will be interesting as well. IBM is expecting 378 EPS on 15.7 billion. So IBM, I mean, a company that a lot of people thought was done for a few years ago, now has kind of rebounded a little bit in terms of like what's going on. IBM. You know, what's interesting is like a lot of the time this company's brought up as like an argument on why you shouldn't invest in blue chips. And it's kind of backfired on a lot of the people that have brought it up. I mean, again, you can put up a long-term chart. And again, even this is a pretty strong chart. I mean, again, it was at 970 in 1994. Today it's at 173, 180. So, I mean, you can think about the percentage increase there. It's still pretty standard. All right, looking at our poll, 45% think they're going to beat, 33% think they're going to miss. Would we be able to get in after 4? Depends on your broker. That, I mean, most U.S. regulated stockbrokers are going to allow you to enter positions after 4 p.m. You just got to use limit orders. But yeah, I mean, anybody can. PayPal CEO seems a little bullish. No. PayPal's been flying up too, unless it corrected some today that I missed out on. Yeah, I mean, it did correct some today. I'm still green though. My average price in PayPal is 51.40s. Another stock that people tried talking me out of buying. I just thought it was so cheap, man. I thought it was so cheap at the time. I bought it at 50 bucks. Worked out. You know, I'm green on it. I've taken most of the profit off, so we're only holding a little sliver of a position left on that one. You know, I'm probably going to go ahead and take the rest off of Netflix here, I think. Just because I can. We're going to go ahead and lock that profit in. I mean, we've just made enough on it. We'll add back on the pullback or whatever. We're also in Delta Airlines. Microsoft's pretty solid. Hey, what's up, Freddie? What's up, Jay? Use the profits of Tesla shares and bought a Model Y. I'm thinking PayPal sell the rumor by the news. Maybe. Bought at 190 and sold at 280 last year. 200 shares. What's up, Mark? Anyone long PayPal? I agree. Market always places higher emphasis on high revenue versus EPS. This is where price to book can get extremely stretched. Yeah, for sure. IBM ready. Yeah, we'll cover both of them too here. So we're going to cover both of them and then stream the Tesla earnings call. So just be ready. But yeah, IBM, pretty strong company. I mean, again, it struggled. It had its biggest days, obviously, here. But it's still moving up. What do they focus on now? What does IBM focus on? PayPal CEO says they'll surprise the world. I mean, in what though? Crypto? I don't know. Here's the Q right now. Again, the big name of the bell of the ball in stocks today, I'll call it, is Nvidia. Nvidia with a crazy rip up to 630s. Crazy. Finally pull it back a little bit. It's at 614.30s now. The market was blanking. Yeah, I mean, what is the news for PayPal is the question. We can find that pretty easy. Hold on, let me see if I can help you out. PayPal stock is ripping up ahead of the innovations event, according to Barron's. Shares are most likely rising in anticipation of an event this Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's an event preview of the first innovations PayPal and Venmo are piloting to bring to the market later this year. It's going to be led by President and CEO Alex Chris, who took CEO position in September. So they've got an event going on tomorrow on the 25th is what the deal is with them. That's kind of why they're ripping up so much, if you want to know. But yeah, Tesla dumping down ahead of earnings here. You know, people are acting like it's just the end of the world, but I mean, again, here's the previous close right here. And so Tesla is slightly red. Yo, I loved Nvidia. Got in calls yesterday at 6:05. Wrote it out. Hey, nice, man. It's going to be like usual, Tesla beat it, and then stock goes down because Wall Street doesn't know what they're talking about. Maybe. That does happen a lot. For somebody that covers every Tesla earnings call, that happens that happens a lot. It happened with the Cybertruck event as well. Cheer up for Tesla. I don't know if PayPal's an underdog. PayPal's been a massive behemoth company for decades. I was questionable of PayPal over the last few years, specifically because I thought like crypto might just be this big negative influence to them, but they've adopted it fairly well, which I think was the smart move. Boeing's still dipping. Luckily, we took some profit way up there. Elon will say by the bottom, not the end buying opportunity for Tesla. 160 would be huge. PayPal can't go much lower. Don't sleep on Polestar. I mean, I'm not a big believer in trying to like find sketchy companies that are really early like that. I think I think traders can have whatever kind of style they want. I'm not really knocking anybody's style in trading. If you want to trade like that, trade like that. You know what I mean? It's not really going to have a big influence on what I think, really. I think just the problem with a lot of these up-and-coming companies is, like, people get attached to them, like Polestar or, like, Mullen or, whatever. People get attached to the companies, and sometimes, most of the time, these companies are struggling. And it's kind of a big risk, big reward situation, though. If those companies end up thriving and doing well in the future and turning into like really successful companies, then whoever invested in them is going to make a lot of money. But I think the problem that in most people's logic is that they think that it's easy to do that. And I would say you're probably going to have to lose on 10 to make it back on like the 11th. You know what I mean? Like it's something in which you're going to lose a large majority of the time investing into companies like that. And so you just got to make sure you have the bankroll to be able to make those bets and that you're not just kind of throwing money on a bunch of bad companies, hoping that you catch one, kind of like a lottery almost. And again, maybe Polestar's the one. I'm just incredibly skeptical of most of these up and coming EV brands. I just don't trust them. I think they're too small of a consumer base in most of them to help them succeed. Like I just think the consumer base is tiny for most of these companies, and it's going to take like something very different relative to what we have currently on the market to change that, and for a lot of these. But maybe I'm wrong, and if you got some arguments for some of these other EV brands, let me hear them. I'm down to hear them. I'm not hating on any of them. Yeah, Mullen's a terrible company. I told people Mullen was bad freaking years ago. Yeah, I mean, Mullen is just, yeah, it's Mullen. Tesla tanking bad. Tesla's definitely down over the last, like look, here's a 10-day chart. A 20-day chart's even worse. Look at that, 265s. It's a rough looking chart. 180-day chart. I mean, when you put it in a 6-month chart, though, it's really not that bad of price action. I mean, you got to understand the context of it, though. Like you do have this potential upward angle here. You can kind of see it there. And again, you kind of like, maybe you could call this a flag or a wedge. However you want to do it. I mean, if it's a flag or a triangle, it would have to be something like this. Which I kind of see this, like, I don't mind this, but again, the question is, what does it do moving forward? I really don't know. I think it's interesting to watch, but I'm in it. I hope it goes up. Yeah, so again, we're right at the previous closing price, which is right around that spot. PayPal starting to move up. Tesla 300 by Friday. Must maybe. Give me some ETF commodities. Wheat and corn will fly. Maybe. NEO at $5 plus. Seems like buying what others are buying is a good idea. Kind of, maybe. Could be. All right, guys, we still got 30 minutes before the earnings call. Until at least, even just till the closing bell, we got 30 minutes. So, we got our poll on Twitter. 57% of people still think we're gonna beat on Twitter. Let's take a look at their EPS graph. Let's take all the nonsense out of this and look at the actual stats behind Tesla. All right, so like people are gonna say good and bad things, and they're gonna like or dislike it. They're gonna say it's overvalued, undervalued, it's gonna fly, it's gonna move up, or whatever it is. Right? Here's their EPS graphs. Here's their quarterly EPS graph, which is one of the biggest. Let me make sure we're not lagging at all. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. But yeah, take a look at the EPS graph. We're expecting 74-cent profit. So we are expecting this right here. So essentially what we're expecting is like a bounce up. Let me get my little drawer out. Hold on. Sorry, guys. We're expecting this right here. So that's the quarter we're expecting right now. Is a slight increase from last time. Last time we showed what? We showed 53%. This time we're expecting 74%. But we're within line of what we've been doing here. A 1-year chart shows you a little bit more clearly what we're looking at. And again, this is EPS though. Let's take a look at revenue. Revenue is important. So let's take a look at revenue to see what they're looking like. You guys ready? So, sorry, let me find the Tesla revenue graph. Here it is. Y'all can hear the music, right? All right, so again, here's Tesla's revenue graph. This is why, you want to know why Tesla is a strong company. You know, if you don't understand it, you want to say they're overpriced or underpriced or whatever it is. This is their revenue graph. You know, so their revenue graph looks like this. You know, this is their quarterly revenue graph. Their trailing 12-month revenue graph looks like that. That is why Tesla is a successful company, is because they bring in money. I mean, it's kind of water is wet, but you get some people that just act like, oh, like it's just purely up because people like it or whatever it is. But yeah, Tesla, very strong company. Now, remember, Tesla today is expecting 23.17 billion. 23.17 billion. So they are expecting a slight dip relative to last time. They're expecting about this. You know, but again, they were right within the previous ones. So, I mean, we very easily could beat, you know, most of these. The highest revenue they've ever reported is just under 25 billion at 24.92 billion. And so, you know, we've got some wiggle room in that regard there to let it work. NASDAQ futures down 1%. AMD catching up to NVIDIA as well. Yeah, AMD drops earnings next week as well. And AMD has been a behemoth company as well. AMD has one of the strongest looking daily charts I've ever seen in microchips. I mean, again, you could look at AMD. Look at that daily chart. That's a powerful looking daily chart here for sure. Tesla's a great company, but the thing is the stock price doesn't reflect it, and even if Tesla beats it, still usually tanks. Right, but I think maintaining is a big like part of markets. You know what I mean? Like maintaining is a big part of it. I love AMD, but it's super extended. Well, that's what they said about Nvidia at 450. You know what I mean? Extension is subjective, I guess. I mean, PE ratio. Let's take a look at the PE ratios for some of these. Let's take a look at AMD first. All right, so Tesla PE. Let's take a look at the Tesla PE ratio. Right now, Benzinga has it at 67. Let's calculate it myself. Sometimes these aren't the most accurate. Okay, so Tesla. Let's get out of this and this and this. All right, so Tesla. Let's go ahead and calculate. Where's my calculator at? All right, so Tesla last reported an EPS of 66 cents, 91 cents, 85 cents, 119. Oh no. There we go. All right, so that gives them roughly a yearly EPS gauge of 361. You divide it by Tesla's current price, let's call it 208. Or you divide you do 208 divided by this number. So 208 divided by 3.61 gives it a PE ratio of about 58. About 58. It's not good. I mean, it's not a good PE ratio. Good PE is like 20, 15, you know, even. So it's not good necessarily, but it's also not where it was before. It's this pullback makes it a little bit more in line with what a lot of people think it should be. We also have AMD. We can take a look at the PE ratio for AMD as well. AMD recently got an upgrade. See, Benzinga says the PE ratio for AMD is 1.531000, like 1.5K as a PE ratio. That does not sound right at all. Let's calculate it. All right, so we got 77 plus 70, or no. I'm sorry. We got 70 cents plus 58 cents plus 60 cents plus 69 cents. All right, so 257 yearly EPS for AMD. Let's take AMD's price at 178. Yeah, about 70 PE ratio. It's definitely not 1.5K. I don't know why they're acting like it's that much. It's just not that hot. It's still not good, but it's not really like the end of the world bad like 1.5K would be. You know, it's right. It's a little bit higher than Tesla's, but it's not that much higher. Anyways, Tesla bouncing back a little bit at 208 right now. 208. All right, guys, we still got 22 minutes or so. 22 minutes. From what I understand, the higher PE, the harder they fall. Kind of. I mean, higher PE stands for price over earnings. And so it's how much the company's making versus what their price is. Now, there's a lot more nuance to like successful companies, float size, like all that stuff. There's a lot more nuance to it, but that's the basic nuance. Is price versus earnings. Like how much are they? What's the price of the stock versus how much the company's bringing in EPS, which is profitability. Like how profitable are they relative to their earnings? A higher PE ratio means a company is more highly priced relative to how much they bring in, and vice versa. A lower PE means they're cheaper relative to how much they bring in. So yeah, lower is better. Of course, higher is worse. A good PE in tech is like 30 or lower. Yeah, a good PE in tech is like 15, 20, 25. Will Cybertruck save Tesla? That's what I want to know. I'm curious to see what they're bringing in. Like whether Tesla's going to actually bring in some good numbers or not. I'm genuinely curious. All right, team. I forgot to put the timer up. My bad, guys. That's what I forgot today. Let's put the timer up. We still got about 20 minutes or so until Tesla drops. All right, so 20 minutes, guys. 20 minutes. Yeah, the numbers come out in 20 minutes, guys. That's why we got on the screen. Expecting 74-cent profit, EPS on revenue at 23.17. Again, we'll see. I'm interested. All right, guys. You guys ready? All right, we got 260 people here. Slap the like button. We still got 20 plus minutes. E-mini just bounced exactly off of the all-time high from 2 days ago. Sub 200 Tesla on the way, maybe. Way to react. From what Elon said, we don't see any profit relevance for Cybertruck. Yeah, that's what I talked about earlier. He said some not so optimistic things regarding Cybertruck production and margins. Some not so optimistic things regarding them. He basically said that they weren't going to have a positive influence on Tesla as a company for years. Specifically, what I mean is the Cybertruck is not going to have a positive influence on Tesla for years. It's interesting to watch and kind of keep track of. And NASDAQ and SPY, a little worried but ready. Yeah, I'll get Tesla drop for 18 consecutive days since this year. Yeah, it's been a rough day. Like, again, you put up a 20-day chart, you see it on Tesla. It's a rough chart. It was at 265s prior to this, so it's been a tough time for them for sure. SPY at 486s. At 486s, we'll see if it holds. All right, guys. So Tesla, look at SPY coming back a little bit. Let's look at the NASDAQ here. See if the NASDAQ is helping us here. NASDAQ at 427. NASDAQ looking a little bit. Am I looking at this right? Yeah. So the NASDAQ looking a little bit stronger than the SPY. A little bit farther away from that loss level. Tesla at 208. Again, we're in Tesla. Let's hope it goes up. Boeing, we're another one that we're in, but we took profit earlier in this morning's stream. changed the debit card spread on Nvidia. All right, good. We'll see what happens here. AMD breaking out again. Is it really? Boeing flying up right now. AMD almost to 180s. Bouncing at that volume weighted average price level. It's gonna go up. I'm pretty sure the pattern is making. Yeah, maybe. Augustin. Profit taking 30 points. In case big miss, will it influence the whole NASDAQ? Yes. I mean, it's not going to influence the whole. I mean, it'll influence the NASDAQ certainly to a certain extent. Like, Tesla's a heavily weighted stock. I think they changed the percentages, though. So, Tesla weight is not as big as it used to be. So, Tesla weight. Tesla weight is 1.88%. In the S&P 500. It's the number 6, but this might be old. I think they changed it recently. This was done August 1st of last year. I think they changed it. I might be wrong, though. But yeah, Tesla might still be. Okay, so yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, Tesla is the number 6 weighted stock in the S&P. Although I feel like this might be wrong. This was August as well. But yeah, it's a heavily weighted stock. So if Tesla crashes, for instance, it's going to influence the NASDAQ. I mean, it makes up part of the NASDAQ. It's the number 6 heaviest stock in the NASDAQ in terms of influence. So, yeah. S&P 500 up a ton, 21% year to year, 52 weeks, up 21%. Yeah. Now we also have IBM. IBM will be fun to watch too. Okay, so yeah, as of November 21st, the SPY and holdings are slightly different. Tesla's number 9 in the SPY now. Used to be 6, but they moved it in when was this? November. They changed it. That's what I thought. I knew they used to be 6. Now Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company's number 8. Google Class C is number 7. Meta is number 6. So now Meta actually makes up a little bit more in terms of weight in the S&P 500 relative to what it used to be. Moments like that when everyone realized, yeah, SPY went from 410 to 490 in 3 months. Literally, that's 20% up. Yeah, it's a big move. But again, SPY was on a rebound anyway. Is this better? Would you guys rather it zoomed in like this and I can like change this to where I put myself like that? I think that's a little bit cleaner. You can see the charts a little bit better. Meta slay. Yeah, Meta. I mean, Meta just freaking proved me wrong. Honestly, you know, I always talk about what I'm right on. I better talk about what I'm wrong on sometimes. I thought Facebook and Meta was a sketchy company at $100 a share. You know, again, this was like, y'all got to understand the state of macro markets back in 2022 and 2020, early or mid to late 2022. Facebook was at $100. You know, Meta was at basically $100. I was incredibly skeptical. The reason I was skeptical is because the prior year in 2021, Meta had lost like 10 billion or more in the metaverse project, right? Like the crypto crash, the metaverse wasn't as big and talked about as people thought. And so I was incredibly skeptical of Meta in that period of time. You know, this was as TikTok was rising, Instagram was losing popularity. Zuckerberg was, you know, risking billions in the metaverse. I just thought it was incredibly vulnerable. And I was just wildly wrong. Meta went from $1 to $400 in that last year and a half to 2 years. Again, proving me freaking wrong, dude. I was just freaking wrong. And that's all right. Listen, we're not right about everything. And again, Meta looks incredibly strong, you know. They're getting involved with AI. AI kind of saved the day for a lot of stuff, for markets, certainly for Meta AI. I think they have their AI software called Lambda. I'm building some projects with their AI software actually in the background. I think it's called. Let me see. I guess it's just called Meta AI. Maybe I'm thinking of a different one. Metaverse is no longer hot. Yeah, I'm seeing Rolling Stone post an article about the metaverse flopping. Mark Z is pivoting to empty AI hype. I don't like Mark Zuckerberg. I never have. All right. He seems kind of wormy to me. You know, I mean, most billionaires probably are going to, though. Burt Reynolds could be a billionaire. I'd still think he's wormy. But yeah, I mean, listen, I respect him a lot more now that he trains jiu-jitsu. You got to respect it, you know. And I saw some rolling footage of Mark. He looks solid. Like, he probably beat me up, realistically. You know, I don't know. I'd probably guillotine him, but still, he's solid at jiu-jitsu. I got to give him a little bit of respect. Jiu-jitsu's hard. It's hard. You get beat up. You got to be tough to do it, you know. If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough. SPY at 485.40s. Right now, 45.40s. Amazon dipping down a little bit. AMD pulling back a little bit. Meta pulling back a little bit. Tesla bouncing. You can see the NASDAQ on all those tech stocks I just mentioned now starting to dip ahead of these earnings. We got 10 minutes until the closing bell, guys. 10 minutes. Again, slap that like button. Hit the subscribe button. All right, what's up, Khaled? I quit. 9 minutes. Yeah, we got a couple minutes left. Mark already did with Elon. So again, Tesla numbers are slated to drop at 4:05 p.m., 4:05 or 4:10. Why is Tesla even on the NASDAQ again? Might as well bring in Ford. Yeah, but I mean, like, listen, man. Like, look, you want to know why? I mean, Ford was their EPS. You want to know why Ford is a struggling company? It's because Ford struggles with profitability, right? Like, here's Ford's EPS graph. You know, it's just a noticeable difference. They're just less profitable than Tesla is, you know? And so, like, Ford has struggled to maintain profitability over the last few years relative to Tesla, which, you know, they're very profitable over the last few years. And so it all has to do with profitability. It also has to do with tech. Tesla's mostly considered a tech company. You know what I mean? They're mostly a tech company, but it varies. We got IBM. All right, team. 8 minutes. Honestly, the Ford Raptors are pretty cool. I gotta give the Ford Raptors a little bit of credit. Those things are pretty dope, man. I'll give it to them. Again, we're gonna stream the full earnings call live as well here, team. So just be ready. Dares to buy Tesla dips before 81 earnings. Just be careful if you do. I think people are forgetting that it's robotics, Android battery company, not a car company. Yeah, it's a tech company. Green is what you're trying to say. 100% right. It's mostly a tech company. You know, the big one that not everybody really picks up on, and the reason why I'm a big believer in specifically Tesla, is because FSD and full self-driving is going to be the future of automotives. It's too efficient and powerful not to be, right? Like, full self-driving is simply too efficient to not be considered the future of automobiles. It's just simply not possible for it to not be the future, in my opinion. You know, I think right now, Tesla cars can mostly drive themselves. I'm not saying there's not hiccups. I'm not saying they're perfectly efficient. I'm not saying they work super well, but they certainly work in a decent way. You know, a lot of people don't have to actually pay attention when they're in a Tesla because it'll drive for them. And with that said, eventually, now this might be in 2 years, this might be in 5 years, this might be in 10 years. Eventually, that is going to be the future. And Tesla is at the forefront of that technology, right? So what does that mean? That means that Tesla is going to be the big boy that brings that technology forward and brings that adoption forward, and that can only benefit them in a huge way, in my opinion. Now, again, people will argue or debate with me, I should say, about whether it's feasible, about when it's going to happen, about, if it's going to happen. I think it's inevitable. I think it's an inevitability. I think full self-driving is going to happen. When it happens is an arguable thing, but it's going to happen. Without a black swan world-ending event or something like that, it's going to happen. Yeah, you can trade and let Tesla drive to work for you. Sounds like a stream idea to me personally. It is not going to happen, though. Give me your arguments. How are you? What's up, Vincent? Are you going to cover the call? Yeah, we're going to cover both. We're going to stream the full earnings report, IBM and Tesla, as well as stream the entire Tesla call live. Yes. The call's at 5:30. I'm so tempted to buy puts. Hey, good luck. That's what crushed it in October. It's all about outlook. Yeah, guidance is huge. Beating revs, missing profits. Again, I don't want anybody to copy me. I have no freaking idea what I'm talking about. No idea. Wildly wrong about everything. Don't copy me, Forget about the cars for a moment. The biggest unknown in valuing them is dependent on the progress of Tesla bot over the next few years. 100%. As well as, y'all are underestimating, the potential of Tesla and AI, I think they're coming out with their own AI. That's going to do big things. I think you got to look at them as a tech company on the forefront of technology. You know what I mean? You got to look at them in that way. If you don't, you're going to be missing out on the point. A lot of people are just pushing big oil talking points, criticizing Tesla. Sometimes it's politically related. And again, I dislike some of the stuff that Elon says. I'm definitely not I definitely don't believe everything the dude says. But despite all that stuff, I still think that it's something in which you got to pay attention to Tesla. It's such a game-changing technology company, regardless of what, independent of Elon. You know what I mean? Self-driving mostly works already. Top 3 most wrong traders of all today. Definitely top 3 for sure. So short Uber. Maybe. But I think Uber is a company that has ingrained itself into tech as well. So I think both of them can coexist. You know what I mean? I think both of them can and will coexist. All right, guys. Hey, we got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. I appreciate the love and support. Thanks so much. Let's keep growing. We are going to throw it in sub-only mode. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Tesla numbers are scheduled to be released at 4:10 market time. We also have IBM. We've got Las Vegas Sands. We've got United Rentals. We've got Seagate, Crown Castle, American Financial, Columbia Bank, some other stuff, but nothing really big. But specifically Tesla and IBM. Tesla expecting 74-cent EPS profit on $23.17 billion in revenue. IBM is expecting 378 EPS in profit on $15.7 billion in revenue. We're going to watch both of these stocks right now. We got about 2 minutes. My timer's a little bit off, but that's okay. 2 minutes here, team. 2 minutes. Again, make sure you hit that live button, hit the play button, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. Again, give me your last minute predictions on Tesla right now. What do you predict? What's it going to do? Go up, down, sideways, beat, miss, good revenue, bad revenue. Cybertruck is successful, not successful numbers. What does Elon say? Optimistic, pessimistic quotes. Let me know what you guys think. We got a minute and a half left. Again, be ready. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on stream. We will be reporting both of these numbers. And, yeah. Yeah, Cybertruck numbers. What do you guys think they're going to do? All right, guys, we got 1 minute. 1 minute. Again, they're probably not going to release right at the closing bell. Just to clarify, it's probably not going to drop right at close. It'll most likely be, if they're on time, it'll be at 4:10 market time. So it'll be at 4:10. Cybertruck at least 10K. FSD is ready. I can't tell if you're live. I am live. Hit the live button next to the play button. You can also, like, another thing that you can do is put it in fast forward mode. So you want your live button to look like this. Again, we got 30 seconds. You want your live button to look like this. It needs to be red. If it's gray or white, you're delayed. So hit the live button next to the play button. You'll catch up. All right, guys, 20 seconds. 20 seconds until the closing bell. And we're going to put IBM up and Tesla. Watch for price action fluctuations here to see if we can catch some good movement. I think if he needs money for Twitter, he'll say something positive. Who knows? He is unpredictable. All right, there's the closing bell today, guys. There is the close. Now, both of these companies are not scheduled for 4 p.m. on the dot. Both of these are scheduled for 10 minutes after the closing bell here. So I'm going to change this just to give you guys a little bit more accurate time prediction here. We got this timer scheduled to go off at 9:10 market time. 9:10 market time. Now, when the earnings are actually live here, you will see big price fluctuations in both Tesla and IBM. Tesla and IBM. You will see big candles, big movements, full-on reports and everything like that. And all we can really do is sit back and wait. Tesla currently sitting at 207s. IBM sitting at 174s or so. What I read on 174s. IBM had a really flat day today. Really flat. So Tesla misses will drag crypto down, maybe. All right, there's IBM. I don't know if their earnings are out yet, but there's IBM popping up a little bit. We had CSX Corporation. We're going to report the earnings that we have in chat right now. So here's CXS Corp. Big up wick and a down wick for IBM. Tesla is still within that closing candles range here. CSX Corp did 45-cent EPS versus 44 expected. Revenue of 3.68 versus 3.63. All right, so the president has vetoed a Congressional Review Act resolution on a waiver of Buy America requirements for EV chargers. I wonder if that's going to influence EVs or Tesla. I'm trying to get more information on that. All right, so again, he's vetoing Congressional Review Act resolution on waiver of Buy America requirements for EV chargers. All right, so again, there's IBM bouncing up a little bit. Still within that candle range, though. All right, so yeah. So he vetoed a GOP-led effort to repeal waiver of Buy America requirements for EV chargers. So yeah, basically the other side was trying to remove his waiver of Buy America requirements for iron and steel that gets incorporated into federally funded electric vehicle chargers. Last year, the administration waived requirements that would have required federally funded EV chargers to be built with U.S.-made iron and steel. He vetoed that. Anyways, IBM's starting to move up a little bit. Tesla's still consolidating. Everybody's sitting tight waiting for these results here. We got about 1,100 people here. Again, take the time, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We got 7 minutes until these numbers are actually scheduled to come out. IBM on the right side here at about 175 right now, about 175 for IBM. Tesla moving. Tesla moving. Tesla moving. Tesla up to 209s, 260s. I think Tesla might be out with this. I'm not sure if the Tesla numbers are out yet, but it looks like they could be. It's volatile right now. 209s, 210s, 205s. Down to 204s. Tesla earnings out. Tesla fourth quarter revenue, $25.17 billion. $25.17 billion. Adjusted EPS is 71 cents versus 74 cents. So a miss on EPS, a beat on revenue. I think it'll probably go up on this report. But it is out with the numbers. The numbers for Tesla are out. We're going to put these up on screen. Miss on EPS, a beat on revenue. I think this will probably affect it positively. The revenue was much higher than expected at 25.17 billion. Or no, I guess they expected higher than that, so it missed on both metrics. I'm sorry. I had it at a different number, but they're saying it was a miss. I had the expected revenue number at 23 billion. So 25 billion is much better than expected. But Tesla breaking lows, starting to gap down on this report. So again, Tesla starting to dip down on this report. We're still waiting on IBM's number. Tesla down to 202s. $200s. Let's see if it breaks under 200s, guys. Down to 200s. Down to 199s for Tesla. Again, EPSB. We're going to look up the rest of these numbers here for Tesla. Specifically, 71 EPS, missed 74 cent estimates. Sales 25.17, missed the 25.62. Don't really have any other news out for them yet. As it is. All right, so we're starting to bounce up, but we're under $200 effectively for Tesla. Las Vegas Sands also just posted the numbers. 50 cent EPS versus 61 expected. They missed. But man, big miss for Tesla. Big miss. Remember, we are going to stream the full earnings call live right here, so don't go anywhere. We are going to stream the full earnings call live. Put this number up on screen. But yeah, Tesla cracking lows under 200. Under 200. Starting to bounce up a little bit, but again, big red candles here. Big red candles. Still waiting for IBM's numbers. I don't see them out yet. 2024 vehicle volume growth may be notably lower than 2023 is what we're seeing on this post. Again, 2024 vehicle volume may be notably lower than 2023 is something that we are seeing right now. Under 190s. Under 190s. Las Vegas Sands reported SPY now cracking under lows here. Still waiting for IBM to release their numbers here. Still waiting for IBM. So the report is now out. You can see the numbers right here below me. Again, Tesla fourth quarter 2023 EPS 71 cents. They expected 74 cents. Revenue 25.17 billion. They expected 25.59 billion. 2024 vehicle volume growth may be notably lower than 23, and the full earnings call is going to be streamed live here at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time in about an hour. Somebody's asking whether you should buy Tesla. I'm in Tesla right now. I don't know whether you should buy it or not. Yeah, we're going to stream the full current earnings call live. SPY now going red on the day. Interesting. I bought at 197 about 2 months ago. Hopefully, I mean, you took a little bit of profit. I mean, we're starting to bounce, though. We're at 200s right now. So, again, here's Tesla price action since then. IBM just released their numbers. IBM, let's watch 179s. IBM is out. They are up to almost 180 for IBM. Almost 180. IBM posted an adjusted EPS of 387, beat 378 estimates. Sales of 17.38, beat the 17.3 estimates. We'll put this number up on screen here so you can check it out. But yeah, IBM beat on both metrics that I'm seeing here. And again, if you haven't already, guys, if you want to day trade with me, every day we day trade live on stream. One of the ways we do it is through Top Step. It's a funded program in futures. A great way to learn day trading. A lot of mistakes are made from new day traders. They try to put the money up themselves. They risk thousands of dollars in the beginning, and you don't need to. Most day traders lose money. So you could try to look cool and put up thousands yourself, again, trying to look cool. Or you could try a funded account program. The futures market has no PDT rule. You can day trade short, buy market, sell market. You can essentially trade the SPY and Q in futures, no PDT rule. And Top Step funds you. They give you a demo and they test your skill. It's really the best of both worlds, in my opinion, because if you lose, you're only out what you pay for the demo, and it's a reasonable 2-to-3 ratio profit. So you got to make 3K on the base one without losing 2K. A reasonable ratio. And if you pass it, they fund you between 50 to 150K. And, you know, again, you keep 90% of your profit once you're funded. So the reward is similar to putting the money up yourself. There's just noticeably less risk. It's a great way to learn day trading, and just taking the challenge builds your skill, in my opinion. It truly helps you learn how to day trade. And if you lose, it's not the end of the world. Most day traders lose. And so if you want to check it out, they are a sponsor of mine. I'll put this link up right here. I'm certainly biased in their favor, of course, because they pay me money. But if you want to check it out, there's the link. Great way to help support the channel. Tesla started to bounce back up. It's at 202s right now. Maybe IBM is helping them a little bit. IBM might be helping them some. We'll see. AMD breaking highs right now as well. Look at IBM and look at Tesla start to ride back here. We're catching the news as it happens here, team. So we are catching the news. IBM fourth quarter software revenue was at $7.5 billion versus $7.67 billion expected. Consulting revenue was at $5 billion versus the consensus of $5.1 billion. So they missed a little bit in terms of revenue there. The IBM CEO says, quote, client demand for AI is accelerating, and our book of business for what's on X and generative AI roughly doubled from the third to the fourth quarter. That's pushing AMD up specifically right now. That is pushing NVIDIA up a little bit right now, and that's pushing IBM up, obviously, with it as well. Fiscal year 24 free cash flow of IBM is expected at $12 billion. Constant currency revenue growth is consistent with its mid-single digit model at current foreign exchange rates. Currency is expected to be about a 1-point headwind to revenue growth. Check out the rules on the site, Bob, if you want to check it out, bro. The link is above you, brother. Yeah, there's rules. I mean, every funded account has rules. Yeah, Tesla numbers are right below me here. Team right below me. Tesla started to bounce back, almost green on the day. Relative to earnings, it's at 204s right now. So it dipped a little bit. It's all the way back up to almost 206s now. Tapping 206 now, just bounced off of it. Hit it again at 205.70s. Let's see if it holds. Call is out 5:30 in about an hour. All right, SPY now technically green on the day. Tesla slightly pulling back after bouncing back over the last 3 or 4 minutes. Is this the bottom here, team? Let me know. Do you think the bottom is in? Let me know in chat right now. Is the bottom in for Tesla? We're still up to 184s on IBM. Tesla at 203.50 here. We got the low of this candle right around here. Let's see if this level bottoms out here. Right over 202s. Here's the, look, we got the trifecta of indicators right here. We've got volume weighted average price, previous closing price at 200 EMA, all at the same spot basically. It looks like a freaking rainbow on the chart. If we can fight our way back over these levels, that's a very strong sign. Very strong sign. But we got to fight our way back over them. It also could act as like a major resistance level and reject it as well. It's something you want to pay attention to. But again, it's 3 very big milestone levels. Very big milestone indicators is what we'll call them. Yeah, the report is right below me right here, guys. Report is right here. All right, so we're consolidating. IBM pulling back a little bit as well. All right, guys. So again, Q4 earnings. Indicators don't matter when earnings. Yeah, I mean, they don't matter most of the time, but earnings are already out. The earnings call is going to be a big influence over this, though. Am I the only bear here? No, you're definitely not. Bears, announce yourself in the chat. If you're bearish, I'm not. Listen, I'm not mad. Say what you want to say, do what you want to do, but announce yourself. Let's try to gauge. If you're a bull or bear, list it in chat right now. Bullish or bearish? Let me know. Are you bullish or bearish, chat? Say it in chat. Let's hear it. I'm curious. I'm bullish on Tesla. Again, listed in chat right now. Waiting. Bull. Call is at 5:30. Yeah, let me do the timer. I should probably put the timer up. We got. Here we go. That is when the call starts. Bull, bull, both, bear, bull, rodeo. Okay, fair. Bearish. Neither. I just trade my setups. Just turned bear. It's my fault, isn't it? Bulls on the menu tonight, buying the dip, bear, bull. See, yeah, we got a mix of all, you know, all the different types of traders. AMD now up to 179. So we'll see if it actually holds. You think the conference call can move much in either direction? I do think it'll move some. It depends on what happens. You know, Elon getting on the call, talking about Cybertruck outcomes and what that means for Tesla in the future is going to be a big influence over price, in my opinion. If Elon comes out saying the Cybertruck did great and did great sales numbers and he thinks that they're going to be more profitable using the Cybertruck than expected, I mean, obviously that's going to be a positive influence over Tesla. If Elon comes out and says that, you know, he doesn't like it or whatever, and that, you know, the Cybertruck is not going to be as profitable as he thought they would or whatever it is, you know what I mean? I think that's going to mean a lot to it, you know? All right, guys. All right, so again, we got a little dip here on Tesla down to $200 here. Again, starting to test $200 again now. Will it hold? All right, guys. So again, Tesla's still battling. It's a big level. So technical wise, like $200 is a big level. It's a very relevant level in markets for sure. It's a very big spot. And so again, stick around. We are going to be streaming the full earnings call live. And so again, stick around. We'll see what happens. Rest of this AI bullishness. If it does not hold, I'll be rolling my puts in the morning. Hey, good luck. 0.4 billion down. How do I see bars on the chart on TradingView for after hours? I'm not sure. Disappointing report. Yeah, I mean, I had different numbers that showed up. All right, so we did bounce at the $200 level, and we're starting to hold a little bit here. So again, we did bounce at that $200 level, and again, it seems like we're starting to hold some support at this level now. I smell reflection money moves in the market. I did too. Thought it was, yeah. There's a toggle for after hours. I'm a loss at 2K. Buying at the bottom and then buying. Hey, thanks for streaming the news. All good, brother. Again, will they talk about Cybertruck deliveries is the real question here. Will they talk about it? Again, earnings call is in an hour or so. So stick around. We'll cover it. All right, guys. Missed NVIDIA like most. Yeah, NVIDIA flying up. It was supposed to be a 7% move either direction. Yeah, I mean, Tesla numbers, like, Tesla's not really down that much. This was pretty much a flat report. Like, what I had for my expectations was I had expectations at like 24 billion. And so relative to the expectations that I had for them, I actually had higher expectations at 23.17 billion. So we did better than expected versus mine, you know. So interesting here. Again, we'll see what happens. Tesla ended up beating at least the revenue on my end, but maybe not. Yeah, the report was pretty neutral. And Tesla has responded and such. I mean, it's down a little bit, but it's percentage-wise, it's what, like 2%? You know, it depends on where you call it. It is holding at $200 so far. I don't know if it's going to continue to hold, but it has been holding there. The earnings call's at 5:30. We're going to stream the whole thing. All right, team. Again, we're still waiting. $200 is a big level. The question is, do we hold? Bro, NASDAQ 100 bull or bear? I mean, what's the time frame? Short term, I don't know what the heck is going to happen with NASDAQ 100. Long term, though, I mean, obviously, if you're not bullish on the NASDAQ, you have no idea what you're talking about long term. I get it. The cool thing to do is to bet against markets and all that cool stuff. But, buddy, has anybody seen the market? It's gone up like 24% in the last 12 months. Like, I'm not saying it's always going to go up, but the long-term direction is up. And so anybody that's bearish in the NASDAQ 100 long-term is typically kind of gullible to media and sensationalism. Most of the time, markets are going to go up. It's all inflation hedges. Anyway, markets are going to move up for the sole reason that our dollars are valued less over time. You know? And so all right, team. All right, guys. Tesla sitting right at $200. Big level here, too. It's a big spot. Deflation ain't happening while Powell's chairman. I don't buy puts. Yeah. Wonder how Burry is these days. He's probably not that happy, bro. Everybody, like, bro, there was a point in time on my channel, man, where freaking everybody was just talking so great about Burry. They were acting like Burry was just a genius. they would bring it up. How does Michael Burry feel about that? Like every red day, the Burry lovers would come out and be like, see, I told you, Burry. And I'm just like, and I told him at the time, Burry's probably losing in his short positions. Like, let's just be honest here. He's probably losing in these short positions. All right, team. We'll see what we have here. $200 is right at, we're at 2050s right now, 2050s. Did Burry really have a big short on AMD and Intel, dude? Those are the worst. Like, people come to me all the time in my live stream and they're like, yo, I want to short Nvidia. And I always tell them, like, listen, like, I don't know what goes through some of y'all's heads. Why in the world would you want to short the strongest companies in the world right now? Like, I get it. The cool thing to do is short. I get it. People want to be contrarians. I get it. People are pessimistic. I get it. The news is telling you the world is just constantly ending or whatever it is. But there's more edge elsewhere than shorting these super successful companies. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. But again, maybe I'm just not good at shorting these big successful companies. That's certainly possible. All I know is that most of the time, long-term blue chips are going to go up most of the time. S&P 500, NASDAQ index funds are going to go up. The Dow is going to move up. And so I think you got to ride that edge. I don't think you should bet against that edge in any way. And I think the longer you hold bets against those index funds and broad markets, the riskier it is. You know, you might be right short-term. You might get dips, pullbacks, or whatever. The longer you hold those positions, the riskier and riskier they become. So you just got to be smart. Well, smart people buy a lot of things. One of them is land, certainly. I don't play the stock market. I just show up on a huge swing days and say, I told you. Yeah, I mean, that's most of the world, I guess. Can't have new price discovery without shorts. Yeah, I mean, shorts honestly help bulls to a certain extent. A lot of people don't realize it, but... All right. Again, guys, y'all hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We got 1,000 people here live. All right, I'd really like to break 123,000 subscribers if we could. Just try it one time. It might feel good, you know? All right, guys. The future is trash, in my honest opinion. Literally trash. We are all making waste of some kind. Recycling and or disposal will never go away. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, I'm for it, bro. Start a business around it, dude. Sounds like a good idea. Do your thing, man. I'm for it. You know what I was thinking about really doing for a while? And it seems pretty scalable. The only question mark I have with this type of business is there's a couple margin problems that I have with it. But a dumpster business, like you rent a dumpster right now, what does it cost? Like $500 for a week? 3 days, 4 days, $500? You know, a dumpster costs what? $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 and so think about the percentage of that just in terms of dumpsters are steel. Like they're not going to really wear like that. So they're going to have longevity if you buy them and scale them. You know what I mean? It seems like a good business. But again, the problem with that type of business, I think, is specifically trucks and how... I wonder if a Cybertruck could tow a dumpster. I bet you it probably could. But buying a dumpster trailer would be the hard part. Like buying a dumpster trailer would be the hard part, and you would have to hire somebody not just to, you know, deliver the dumpster and pick it up, but also dump the trash in it. You know, you're gonna have to pay to dump it at the dump, and so your margins are gonna be maybe 50%. So you might make $250 a week. It's still pretty good margins, but there's a lot of nuance to it that I didn't like. So. All right, guys. Is Tesla a buy right now in chat? Is Tesla a buy right now? Let me know. Is it a buy? Hard sell later, buy in March. When Tesla gets into AI, it will go NVIDIA, kind of parabolic. Wait for a pattern, not a buy. Doesn't look like it. Buy at a 30 PE ratio. Wait until after the earnings call. Yes. You lost me at Cybertruck on the dumpster business. I'm not saying you need a Cybertruck. What I'm questioning, though, is number one, if the Cybertruck would then classify as a business expense, number one. Number two would be whether a Cybertruck could tow the dumpster effectively, and you'd have to buy a very specific. It might work, but again, it's going to be a lot. The problem is not. I can scale in and rent dumpsters out. The problem would be handling the dumping part of it and going to the dump and towing the dumpsters. That would be the bad part. Anyways, $200 holding fairly well. Look at this $200 level. So we're starting to rip up a little bit. We're up to 203s right now. Oh, don't get your minds out the gutter, guys. Get your minds out the gutter, okay? Look, don't be looking at this like it's anything bad. Get your minds out the gutter. I'm like John Madden over here, okay? But yeah. Tesla going back up to 203s. Yes, it's a buy. What time is Elon speaking? The earnings call is at 4:30. Wrong type of truck. You ain't towing a bin, brother. Need a lift truck. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what kind. There's what I mean is like, okay, if you're towing a dumpster, there's two different types. You could buy just a straight up dump truck, which is probably easier, or you could buy a dumping trailer, which is more. It's definitely a less efficient way to do it, but you could do it and it's cheaper, you know. And so my question is not whether, you know, the Cybertruck would also substitutes a dump truck. The question is whether the Cybertruck could tow the dumpsters efficiently with the correct type of trailer in it, just to clarify. Short term, no. Midterm, yes. Hype will go on. Long term, risky. Competition. But what do you think is the competition for Tesla? Seriously, genuine question. I hear a lot of these up and coming EV brands. Most of them are duds, in my opinion. You know, you got Mullen, obviously a dud. You got NKLA, sketchy company, obviously a dud. You got Polestar, which is Volkswagen. They're all right. You got the other big boy brands, which is the biggest competition to Tesla, like Honda, Toyota, Dodge, Ford. You know what I mean? They're producing EVs, and that is some competition to Tesla. I don't think it's anywhere near vulnerable levels for Tesla, but I still think that's some competition. I just don't know if it's going to be, you know, if it's going to be that big of a deal, in my opinion. But I don't know. Maybe. EV will not work long term. What's the problem with it, Ninja? What's wrong with EV long term? Let me hear your argument. I'm okay with it. I'm not against you. I'm just curious. Why would somebody sleep in there? Tesla new Cybertruck. Hey, that's an idea, bro. Listen, Elon, hire me out, dude. John's Cybertruck dump trucks. A genius name for a genius man. You know, hire me, Elon. Earnings at 4:30. So earnings are out already. To weatherman it, they're right here. You know, they're right here. You know, you can see. You know, they're right there. I can zoom over to this side over here and see that they expected 25.59 billion, and they ended up showing their revenue of 25.17 billion, a slight miss in terms of revenue numbers. And again, EPS, which is kind of over there, came in at 71-cent EPS versus 74 cents. So misses technically on both, although I did have a different revenue number. Anyways, Tesla back up a little bit. The question is this a flag pattern? This is my question. Is this a flag pattern? Is this going to actually hold? Is the question, and I don't freaking know. $200 I think is very relevant. Let's see if it breaks it. We're going to stream the full earnings call. Hey, thank you so much, GT. Earnings call is at 5:30, brother. I appreciate it. I don't know how much 100. $1.77. Thank you so much, man. Honestly, these foreign currencies are funny sometimes because it'll be like a huge amount. Like somebody donated it was like 200 to me the other day, and I was like, oh man, 200. And then I look it up and it was like 70 cents. And so I appreciate it though. Thank you so much. I appreciate any donation. Thanks for the $1.77, sir. I appreciate it. Genuinely. I'm not even sarcastic. I appreciate it. Anyways, we're right at that 202 break level. Let's see if it actually holds. This is the best Tesla earnings I've seen since last year. Tesla now at 200 to 202 despite missing earnings is actually a miracle. Yeah. I mean, EV is definitely the future. I'd pull 15 to 20,000 pounds of full dumpsters every day. Cybertruck would not hold up, not rated for the weight. Yeah, that's what I'm curious about is how would they hold up for the weight? Not whether they would be an effective dump truck, but whether they could pull them effectively is the question, you know. The charging part is a huge bottleneck. Yeah, but that's going to expand over time. Like I hear that argument all the time where like, oh, it takes a long time to charge. Anytime you have a game-changing technology, right? Anytime with the carriage, you had this weird speed bump of where you had vehicles and carriages on the road simultaneously, and it caused problems and people were getting hit and all these different stuff. Like there's always speed bumps in new technology outbreaks. Like there's always speed bumps. And one of the speed bumps you specifically see for Tesla now is the fact that charging isn't the most efficient thing right now. It's only really a problem if you're in a very specific situation, which is number one, you don't live in a home. If you live in a home, you put the charger in your garage and you charge it overnight and you jump in and you got a full charge every day when you leave, right? That's very efficient. The problem with this comes from people who buy it that live in like apartment complexes, right? Because again, you can buy the charger from home and you're all good and fine if you're at your house. But if you live in an apartment, you know, as an example, you're at the whim of who else is at the charging stations and what they're doing and what the lines look like and how efficient the charging station is and all that different stuff. And so again, it's only in specific situations that are problems, but again, those are speed bumps. Over time, that stuff will become more efficient. Like technology evolves. I just think, again, I said this earlier, I'll say it again. I think full self-driving is too convenient and game-changing of a technology to not be the future. And again, maybe this is just optimism. Teslas can virtually drive themselves now. You know, I'm not saying there's not hiccups. I'm not saying there's not problems, but Teslas can virtually drive themselves now. And so with that said, I think what's going to happen is that maybe in 5 years, maybe in 10 years, maybe in 2 years, full self-driving is going to be a thing. Some people are going to have it where the car completely drives for themselves. Other people are going to see that and say, ooh, look at that person. That car's driving themselves. Then they're going to want to get it. And that's going to cause like a domino, a snowball effect, if you will. And so where Tesla is going to be at the forefront of that technology, being a tech company itself, I think long-term, the outlook is bright for Tesla. If Elon can just freaking shut up about politics and social media and all this different stuff, I mean, I think that's what he has to do. You know what I mean? Again, this is me very neutral politically. I just think if you're the head of a company, you can't be one-sided politically. You're going to ostracize a huge percentage of your user base. People are not going to want to buy your stuff, bro. And I think that's such a self-evident thing. And maybe, he bought Twitter, and it is what it is. Again, I'm not telling him how to run his company. I guess I kind of am. But I think that is the biggest vulnerability long-term to Elon, is he won't be quiet about super controversial stuff. Oh, I'm definitely biased. I mean, we're all biased. I'm certainly biased. I'm in Tesla right now. I want Tesla to go up. It's certainly probably at least a little bit of confirmation bias in there, in that I want Tesla to go up, and so I'm more likely to believe that it will. And that's probably certainly part of this. But again, I don't think my argument is invalid because of that. I think the argument still makes sense. And again, I'm open into hearing other arguments against what I'm just saying. And again, that's fine. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. John, if Musk has various models and levels of pricing for future cars to establish a real diverse car automaker company, will it drive the stock price up? Probably. You know what I mean? Like, probably. Again, it's, I don't know. It seems like it would. Like, it seems sensical, but sometimes stock price, you don't freaking know what's going to happen. Again, stock market is just not that easy sometimes. If it was, we'd all be rich. And I've said this 1,000 times. But if the market was as easy as just kind of sitting around waiting for a company to do well, everybody would be rich. You sit around, wait for a company to have an EPS and the sales beat and buy it. And then wait for a company to have an EPS and a sales miss and sell it. I wish the market was that easy. It'd be very simple. The problem is that sometimes companies can have good EPS, good sales, good guidance, and then drop 15%. And so I wish it was that easy. There's a lot more nuance that has to do with it, specifically extension and float size and PE ratios and how much the company is up or down relative to the time period. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of nuance that we can't really predict effectively. Nobody can really. You got to take a lot of different things into account, but I would assume they would, but who knows? Corporate buybacks, delisting. Yeah, I mean, insurance is certainly something, but it just depends on how efficient it is. There was a press conference in 2016 when he predicted that they would send a car from... yeah, hey, we'll see, JK. I agree with you on that. If I had a business, I'd be completely quiet. You kind of have to be. I mean, again, if of course, you can take my channel and extrapolate it to like Elon. Like, I'm very neutral politically. People still argue with me about it. Usually the ones that are like super about one side. And again, I'm neutral. I don't care about any of that stuff. I really don't. But I know I'm not about to get caught rooting for a politician or anything like that. I don't want to have anything to do with any of that stuff. Amazon's starting to rebound a little bit. AMD almost the 180s. Hey, thank you, Steve. He said, no, you're right. Probably, certainly. Hey, thanks, man. I do agree with him on many points, but he needs to separate business and, yeah, for sure, 100%. He just needs to understand that he's a major public figure, and he needs to just kind of stop being so divisive. You're ostracizing a huge percentage of your user base when you are, yeah, how many times are they going to say AI? Hey, my guy Peter, thanks so much for the donation, brother. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. Gonna have to average down on my Tesla and wait. Hey, good luck, man. Tesla goes to $40 a share and then bounce. No. A year ago, somebody told me the SPY was going to drop 80%. 80%. I calculated this. I still bring it up because it's such a funny prediction. And again, at the time, I kind of laughed about it. I pulled it up. Like, look, here's the SPY. I'm going to put Tesla up on this right side here. SPY's starting to bounce back. A lot of AI hype, I think, is driving this up. AMD earnings are next week as well. We got the FOMC rate hike decision. We got PCE on Friday. We got GDP data tomorrow. We're going to stream all of this stuff. And so, again, subscribe if you haven't yet. We're going to stream all of this different stuff. But yeah, so Tesla earnings call. Yeah, that's going to be at 5:30 market time. Yeah, I mean, again, when you start to calculate these numbers, somebody said an 80% drop, right? SPY currently at 485s. And this is not even including, like, where we were a year ago, which was much different levels. But you do 0.2%. 97. They're saying the SPY is going to be sub $100. And I just don't see that happening. You know, the market's also a very different thing than it was in like 1987 or 1929, especially. You know, the common statistic is that the market has only really had 3 bearish years in which we had multiple red years in a row consecutively, right? The market's only done that 3 times in a century plus. Maybe not a century plus, in almost a century. 1929, we got about, what, 5 years? In 95 years, the market's only had 3 times in history in which it does that. You know, but for whatever reason, you ask retail traders, bro, retail traders just think we're just going to get a constant market crash every year. Some of them are following Michael Burry. Some of them are just watching the news too much or whatever it is. But this is an election year, specifically this year. And so I think that's most people's biggest argument. Like, it's an election year this year. A lot of people are going to be betting on an upward movement in markets, you know, and I think this year's going to be good. It really depends on what the Fed does, you know, when they cut rates, what that means, how the market's response to that, what the inflation rate stays at. That's going to be a big influence. What banks look like, regional banks, and a lot of different stuff. If you remember, in March and February of last year, regional banks had a disaster, and it actually helped crypto because I think skepticism for regional banks made people put their money more so in DeFi and crypto, and so that was an interesting nuance. But now, a year later, heading into those months, you know, the question is, rate hikes have a lagging effect. You know, a lot of people don't understand the FOMC meetings that we cover here pretty regularly, but like, rate hikes have a lagging effect. It takes time for those things to affect the economy, because when you raise rates, and the FOMC decisions next week, we're going to stream the whole thing live. But when you raise rates, you're raising the federal funds rate. It makes banks more expensive. Banks raise interest rates to compensate for it. But rate hikes, with that in mind, are going to affect banks the most initially. And so, with that said, the last few years we've raised rates pretty aggressively. The other side of optimism for this year would be if some of those rate hikes that we've done over the last year and a half start to consequently affect the market in some big negative way. Specifically through banks, right? Banks struggle, that trickles into everything else, that drags everything else down. I mean, that's one of the, you know, bearish outlooks for this year. But I think inflation has gotten more under control, and now we're talking about a pivot, and so, you know, it's nuanced, but still, we'll see what happens. Real estate has been a struggle for sure lately. Specifically, mortgage rates being really high, you know, at 6, 7, 8%, which is not even like, on average, it's not crazy high, but relative to the last 2 decades or so or more, it's pretty high. It's 3x what you were paying 5 years ago. And most people just don't want to pay 3 times what they were paying. You know, that's a lot more money over decades of time. Commercial real estate has also been one of the factors that has been hurt the most out of everything. There's a lot of reasons for it. Obviously, 2020 and everything that came with that crazy time affected commercial negatively, was the first, you know, bad thing for commercial. The other thing is that technology evolves. Remote work. What happened in 2020 is people started working from home. They built the infrastructure to allow people to work from home. And I think a lot of businesses realized how much more efficient it was. Instead of packing a warehouse full of hundreds of people and paying rent in these super expensive businesses, they just allow like customer service reps and stuff like that to work at home. Businesses and transporting, especially when you look at stuff like Amazon, has gotten really efficient as well. So you don't need to work in shop anymore for a lot of businesses. And the real question is, what does commercial real estate look like in the next decade? You know, I don't know if it's going to change that much. I think technology is going to be even more adopted in the future. And so the question is, what are the long-term effects of commercial real estate, and how does that affect the economy? You know, there might be some question marks there. Anyways, we still got about 30 minutes before the actual earnings call, guys. About 30 minutes. Efficiency and productivity doesn't necessarily mean consumers are worse off. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying these are all interesting concepts. So it's all good, bro. For the last 6 cycles being recessions, maybe. I don't think we're gonna do a recession though. Again, we'd have to have significant pullbacks in GDP to equal a recession. I think inflation is under control, and so at least it's slower. I won't say under control, but it's slowing. You know, and with that said, GDP drops tomorrow. We're gonna stream the entire thing live. PCE data drops Friday. If you don't know what that is, it's the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index. It's a gauge on inflation and what that means. So both of those will drop tomorrow and Friday, and we'll stream them. All right, guys. So all right, guys. So we got Tesla still sitting over 200, but kind of consolidating back and forth now. Let me catch back up on stream. What's price? Is Kathy on Tesla? All right, guys. So AMD down to 179s. The SPY is still sitting at 485s. Here's the SPY. So SPY's still sitting up there. Let's look at the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ at 425.70s. Here's the Q. Q at 1760s. So Q is trying as well. Let's see if it holds. AI doesn't mean more profit earning as of now is my argument. Eventually, yes, it could bring in more profit or earnings. Not yet. I mean, I don't know if I agree with that necessarily. I mean, we can look at like, okay. There's an easy way to check this, right? Like, look at when AI started getting big a year and a half ago. Here's, and again, the easiest way to check what you're saying is this. Here is NVIDIA's revenue graph, right? So there's this NVIDIA, one of the biggest AI companies, and their changes in revenue since AI became big. I think we see a noticeable, an incredibly noticeable bump in revenue, specifically over the last year since AI became so big, really in the last few years. Like, look at the trailing 12-month revenue. Look at NVIDIA's revenue as well. Like, it's skyrocketed since AI became big. And so I don't think that's necessarily true. I think we see reflections in revenue on most of these AI companies already, and it's still very early. But I think we're already seeing, you know, we're already seeing those big bumps in revenue for most of these AI companies. Too late for CrowdStrike. Did CrowdStrike drop earnings? And again, I think a lot of people, they fear AI, right? And again, I understand it. They fear what they don't know. And a lot of people are acting like we're going to get some Skynet scenario where AI becomes cognizant and like the whole world ends or whatever it is, like Terminator. I love, great movie, by the way. Terminator 2 is better, but still. But with that said, the biggest risk to AI is not Skynet. The biggest risk to AI is it taking people's jobs. If you're a software developer, what it means for tech is exponential growth. What I mean by that is like, okay, so like I know how to, like, I'm a software developer to a certain extent. I'm not saying I'm the greatest ever, but like I can program mobile development, React Native. That's kind of what I got started in with all this stuff was, you know, I'm mostly React JavaScript developer myself, but like 5 years ago, there wasn't really anything on the market like there is now in terms of producing code. Right now, I can go up to ChatGPT and say, yo, build me a React Native application that does ABC. And ChatGPT will produce that code for me within 20 seconds. 20 seconds. That is a powerful thing for developers. That's a powerful thing. And what it's going to mean is it's going to mean they can produce so much more technology now. They're going to be able to produce it faster, more efficiently. Now, a lot of it is spaghetti code, and it's not the best code, and there's still like issues with it. But still, it makes the barrier of entry in development and programming much lower. Much lower. People can learn basic syntax and then start having AI queuing up programs for them pretty quickly and start businesses around them, and that's going to scale technology in a massive way that we haven't really necessarily seen before. But I think a lot of people look at it in terms of like fearing technology, like fearing, true AI, which we're not really there yet. But still, I think the technology is very obviously game changing for everything, but specifically there, because that's just going to make production of tech much, the barrier of entry to that much lower. No way all of these semiconductor companies stay around. Oh yeah, for sure. But the big boys, it's kind of like no way all these EV companies stick around too. Like NKLA, Lucid, Rivian, Polestar, Mullen, like most of these companies are going to fail. Not all of them. I think Rivian might survive. Outside of that, Polestar might, because it's Volkswagen backed, and so it can enter that market pretty cheap without having to be just a pure startup. But like most of these companies are going to fail. They're going to get bought out by the big boys, and that's going to be the end of them. I've never been a big believer in investing in AI, I've never been a big believer in investing into these up-and-coming EV brands, because I just don't think they have the customer base they need unless they're attached to an already large auto manufacturer. There's just not enough people that want to buy them, Market is trading as if any companies mentioning AI will make profits tomorrow. To a certain extent, sure. There's always hype and sensationalism in sectors. Like, that's pretty normal. Again, I've traded and seen through it, a lot of it. Like, in 2018, you had what was called a cannabis boom. Like, the hemp bill passed, and you started getting these companies that became public. You had, like, ACB, TLRY. I think APHA was one. You had like a bunch of different cannabis companies, and those markets boomed, and then they kind of settled down a little bit, and then growth continued. And maybe that's the case with AI, but I think there's a difference between small booms like that and the larger markets, like AI. I think the way I would look at it is if you're investing in like a really small cap AI company, then you might want to be concerned. Or medium cap AI company. Mid caps are where retail loses the most money, in my opinion, because mid caps can drop 50% in 6 months, and retail traders invest in them like they're blue chip Amazon, stock, and they're just not. Most of them are super new, super hyped up, sensationalized companies that end up failing. But still, I think AI the technology itself is really game changing, but obviously every AI company is not going to succeed. Anyways, Tesla dipping down a little bit. We still got some time. Mostly choppy sideways action here. If we get rid of this terribly drawn flag pattern, We're mostly just moving sideways now for Tesla stock. SPY is moving up though. Yeah, so far Tesla has done this. We'll see if they say anything about the Cybertruck. That's what I'm genuinely looking at to see what price action does for Tesla, is what they say about the Cybertruck. Yeah, Tesla bot. Yeah, we'll see if they say something good about it. All right, we got 30 minutes, guys. 30 minutes. $25,000 car. Yeah, I agree. I think AI is going to be huge, and I think people that fear it and are skeptical of it are going to be the ones that miss out the most on that type of stuff for sure. Again, people were skeptical of cars when they came out, when they wanted to keep carriages, and they got left in the dust. People were skeptical about a lot of different industries that sprouted up and popped up. And so, I mean, I just think you got to embrace new technology if you're in investors. You can't be so rigid and stubborn that you just kind of fear it all and don't embrace it as technology. If you do, you're going to miss out on some of the biggest moves like we're seeing in AI over the last 2 years. And again, it's interesting because I was arguing with people years ago about why AI would succeed. People told me it was a buzzword, that it wasn't going to be anything, that they already had it, and all this different stuff. And I think over the last 2 years, we've had one of the biggest parabolic moves in any sector ever. And so obviously they were wildly wrong, but I'm not sure what the next technology will be. Maybe full self-driving might be it, and Tesla could be at the forefront of that. I'm not sure. Rivians are actually kind of dope, dude. I like Rivians. One of my neighbors has a Rivian, and honestly, it's kind of cool. I can't even lie, it's kind of cool. No, the conference call is at 4:30 in 30 minutes. Any earnings calls tomorrow, Friday? I don't think so. I think tomorrow we got Intel, but it's just not big enough as a company. It's got some better moves than it usually has. Like, it's moved a little bit more than it usually did, but I still don't know if it's a big enough company. Intel's just not a heavily weighted stock. What's the weight of Intel? Intel is 0.5%. Intel, Intuit, Pfizer, GE, RTX. Okay, there's Intel. Intel's the number 36 weighted stock in the S&P. So it's just not big. I mean, it's big. I mean, it's huge, but it's not big enough to really stream. Usually the only ones I'll stream are like the top 10. So I'll stream like Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, Burke, stuff like that. Mostly just big tech companies is what I focus on. Fuel cells. Elon needs to speak loud and clear and say AI 3 times. Yeah, I mean, he might. I wouldn't really say he's a good public speaker, though. Yeah, tomorrow we got GDP, durable goods, jobless claims, retail sales, and a bunch of stuff too. Tesla revenue has just skyrocketed too over the last few years. So is Nvidia revenue. Glad I found the channel. Thanks for bringing us all this finance info. All good, brother. Thanks, man. Appreciate the support. Yeah, he's definitely not a good public speaker. Disney, I'll stream Disney, but like, Disney. Like, I'll stream them sometimes. They're not the biggest economic influencer, you know what I mean? It all has to do with influence over the economy, markets, and the S&P and NASDAQ. So again, I'm focusing on AMD, Apple, Amazon, Tesla. If it influences AI, maybe, or microchips, but all right, guys. So we're gonna put this up just because I think. Let me create like a banner here. Let me see. All right, NASDAQ started to pop up a little bit. What can I use? Canva? I guess I can use Canva. Projects. All right. Let's do a disclaimer here. How should I write this disclaimer? I think the best way to potentially write this is, remember, I am terrible at this stuff and have no idea what I'm talking about. Good luck. I think that's probably the best disclaimer in the world. Definitely top 3 disclaimers ever right now. Where's my little brand thing? Hold on. All right, guys. Hey, we got 23 beautiful minutes until the earnings call starts. Oh, there it is. Look at that. All right, I think that's probably the best disclaimer I could ever use. Can I pop this up on screen? Let's see. I think I can. I can add it as an overlay. Okay, we're doing it. All right, guys, how about this overlay? Look. Remember, I am terrible at this stuff and have no idea what I'm talking about. Good luck. Hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations, unlike actual performance. Simulated results now represent happens in actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, the results may have under or over market-setted impact. Simulated trading programs in general are subject to the fact that they are designed with the benefit of hindsight. No rep is made that any account will likely achieve profit or loss similar to shown. Basically, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't copy me. I don't know what I'm talking about. There we go. We'll keep that in the bag here. Sorry. Also, guys, we got 10 or 20 minutes left. 20 minutes. What have I missed? Don't sue me, bro. Yeah, that's basically it. Don't sue me, bro. I don't know what I'm talking about. I think the best way to run a YouTube channel about the stock market, it's like people can't really say anything to me. You know, like, listen, if I tell people I suck and I have no idea what I'm talking about and I might be wildly wrong, and I am wildly wrong about a lot of different things, don't copy me. Have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm certainly biased and, you know, doing this to make money. I mean, that's everybody on YouTube for the most part. And so, I mean, people can't really touch that, you know. They can try to act like I'm a day trading guru and that I suck or whatever, and that's fine. Maybe I do. But I'd rather just tell people I do just in case. Tesla slow meltdown. Yeah, I mean, Tesla just kind of sideways. We'll see what happens during the actual earnings call. The actual earnings call is going to be the biggest thing, you know, so we'll see. EV's not that popular in northern Ohio. They say it's best for warm weather, not for 4 degrees. Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. I think batteries probably seize up sometimes. Do you believe Disney long-term, or will it keep crashing? Thank you. I believe in it enough for it to stay at these prices, I think, most likely. I think you got to think about it in terms of media. Disney's a media company. Now, people might like the media, dislike the media, but they're a media company, right? So, like, with that said, Star Wars, you got to think of their big brands. Star Wars, Marvel. Over time, more of those movies are going to get produced. And with that said, I think Disney's going to be fine long term. Maybe not. I don't know. But I like Disney. How high would a stock have to reasonably go to split it? That's the super variety of answers there, to be honest. Companies are going to have their own procedure there with that type of stuff. Every time Tesla pulls back and everyone screams, it's the end. Tesla just goes back up higher. It's odd. Yeah, I mean, I see it a lot. I mean, I cover all these earnings calls. And so I really do see that, like, a lot. Like, a lot of people have that same thing where they, yeah. Again, a lot of people have that same thing. All right, guys. Also, remember, if you want to check out Top Step, if you want to day trade with me, and again, we are at slightly green today, slightly green. We're up $85 today, a whopping 85 beautiful dollars. Again, this is a combine account, so I mean, we're just kind of playing around on it, but it's a great way to teach yourself day trading. Again, I've been through it all. I've been trading for like 8 years, and in no way am I telling you to day trade or anything like that. What I'm saying is that if you're going to try to day trade, don't put up thousands of dollars yourself and risk that. Almost all day traders lose. Right? Some are good, and I'm not saying there's not good traders. There obviously are really talented traders. Most day traders lose, though. And the most losing period is going to be when you first get started. And so you can put up thousands yourself risking that and probably lose it. Or you can learn how to trade in a funded account program. They give you a demo. They test your skill. If you can pass the test, great. They fund you. If you fail the test, you're only out what you pay for the combine, which on Top Step, the base one's $50. And so if you lose, you're out $50. If you're good enough to pass it, once you're funded, you get a 90% split, free funding coaches, tons of great resources. Just taking the challenge, build your skill. And in this, you can essentially day trade the NASDAQ, which moves from Tesla. Like, Tesla influences the NASDAQ, certainly. I'm not going to say it's exactly the same, but you can kind of learn how to day trade these big index funds like the NASDAQ and the S&P. In futures, there's no PDT rule. You can buy market, sell market whenever you want for the most part. And again, I'm in no way guaranteeing you can make money or anything like that. All I'm saying is it's cheaper to lose on Top Step, and I think that makes perfect sense. So if you're learning to get started, you want to check out my sponsor, check out Top Step. I'm super biased in their favor because they pay me money. And so if you want to check them out, here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. VinFast. Man, wasn't that like a crazy squeeze stock? What happened to that company? I remember it. VinFast Auto, VFS. Didn't this thing go to like thousands? No, it went to 93. I remember this. Never hold. Every time, like, if you ever find yourself in one of these squeezes and you got somebody pressuring you not to sell, you should almost certainly sell. I know this from GameStop. Again, GameStop, we one of the reasons my channel got big is from the GameStop squeeze, you know. GameStop went from like $2, and I was short at $2, just to clarify. I was short GameStop at $4. I thought it was super weak at $4. I did ride it up, though, a little bit. And so I ended up riding it up. And when I was at $500 or whatever I was, that's my cue to switch my headphones. I said, hey, guys, I'm taking some off here. And everybody shamed me and got mad. And in hindsight, that was the top. It never got close to that again. Right now, GameStop's sitting at $14. So, yeah. Point is, if you look at VFS, which somebody brought up, we've had a lot of these weird squeezes. You had some other ones, too, but... Tesla stuck at 201, 202. Why is the NASDAQ frozen? That's odd. Clock's still ticking. All right, so we got a new candle. It's just slow price action. The whole market's probably waiting for Tesla earnings call. Yeah, most new traders lose, 100%. That's why I tell people, you know. And so you can either put the money up yourself in the beginning and probably lose it, or you could try a funded account program. Limit your risk, learn how to trade. You still got some pressure, not the full extent of a live account, but you still got some pressure. And I think in that regard, it makes perfect sense. People get mad because some people online just get mad when somebody else makes money. But in the end, we're pretty transparent about it. As a Disney expert of 38 years, explain that life to me. Equilibrium. In what way are you a Disney expert of 38 years, sir? I'm a cheeseburger expert of the last 30 years. You know, I never told anybody that. Expert at cheeseburgers. I can't really grill a cheeseburger, but I like eating them, so I'm an expert, you know. HKD. Yeah, I remember HKD. HKD at $4. Is the market closed from 5 to 6? Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I've invested in VFS. Is it good or I need to reconsider? I have no idea, bro. I don't know what it's going to do. I know that it had a really sketchy squeeze / pump that it did not hold any of its gains from, which means that it's at the very least highly manipulated. Whether you should stay in it or whether it squeezes again one day, or I'm sure the groups are sitting there telling everybody, yeah, it's going to squeeze one day. Just wait. You know, insiders' goal is to stop you from selling sketchy, depreciating assets. I don't know what VFS is going to do. All right, we got to swap out my headphones here. All right, guys, we got the earnings call in 12 minutes. Whoa. All right, guys, so let me switch this out to make sure y'all can hear. So we're going to do a sound check. Can you hear the music now? Let me know. Tesla 220. Ain't nobody wants to see anybody else do good. Yeah, that's human nature, man. You know, most people don't want you to do better than they are. If you do, they get weird, find reasons to blame you or attack you. Most of it has to do with insecurity. Insecurity is the biggest driver of weirdness in relationships. Amazon at 157. Q's still trying to move up. All right, can y'all hear now? I just don't like seeing people being scammed by pumpers. Who's pumping? If you say I'm a pumper, I mean, you know, explain that to me. I don't think I'm a pumper. Am I oblivious to my pumping ways? You know, maybe. All right, AMD at 180s, guys. We got 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Where are all the pumpers at? I don't know, man. Where are they? Tell me. I say, good day, sir. You know. You get nothing. Good day. I'm bullish on whatever. Oh. Hey, good luck, Rosie. How many stocks of Tesla do you have? I have 30 only. I'm not going to be really super specific about how much I'm holding in Tesla. I'm holding some, and I'm certainly probably biased in their favor in that way, you know. I mean, I want them to go up. Confirmation bias means that I want them to go up, so I'm more likely to believe they will. And maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe Tesla doesn't go up. I don't know. It's at $200 right now. I was trying to hold that support. Honestly, there are a lot of reasons people lash out at others, but it all revolves around the pain they are feeling. Emotions don't transfer without a source of emotion. Thank you, Emmanuel. I tend to agree with you. Most people are just upset with their own current situation, and they use that to justify, you know, getting mad at others. Again, with my channel specifically, I mean, y'all can get mad at me. I mean, listen, I know I'm like a handsome dude, and you know, devastatingly attractive, and like, you know, have a beautiful life and beautiful kids and like a library that I'm sitting in right now. And I know that might rub people the wrong way. And, you know, I'm top 3 greatest trader of all time ever in the world. And so, you know, I mean, listen, if it hurts, it hurts. Deal with it. Definitely not sarcastic. Most humble person also on YouTube for sure. I would have expected Tesla's below average outlook to be priced in already. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Tesla, I had different revenue expectations. I thought when they initially dropped their report, I thought they actually beat revenue, but somebody else had a different expectation for it. And so I don't know. I don't know. Their revenue is still doing okay relative to the last year or so in quarters. If you look at like a revenue graph, it's okay. It's not like wildly breaking highs or anything like that. But it's also not like some parabolic dive down that indicates heavy weakness, you know. I've wished to be more patient. Bought around 230. I mean, but Tesla moves in such a big range. It's hard to tell whether this is genuine weakness or whether this is just normal price fluctuations. For something like Tesla, that is, you know what I mean? Tesla just moves, you know, it moves. Here, other door. Yep, there you go. Alright, you want to say hey to the stream?
Okay.
Carol's back.
Hello. Thanks for putting up with me earlier today.
Carol handled the stream like a champ earlier. Guys, everybody thank Carol.
Nah.
You know?
I'm not like John. It's hard for me to get on and talk in front of a bunch of people. I feel like I'm normal in that regard, though.
Yeah, but I'm top 3 greatest, you know, YouTube stock people ever in the world right now. Don't sue me. I'm really not. Obvious top 3 sarcastic traders ever.
There you go, man. Alright.
Alright, baby. Alright, love you.
Love you.
Be safe out there.
Alright, I will.
Alright.
Hey, free words.
I'm down. Yeah, give me my go-to, my nachos. Alright, love you. Carol, where's Tesla going? Nothing. Never mind. Nothing. Alright. I went for the Hail Mary, ask her what Tesla's going. She just said, what? She couldn't hear me. Yeah. Yeah, Carol sounds like an old English lady, an old British lady, you know, that works at a bread factory. A baker. A bread factory. She probably said 300 under her breath. Hey, she might have. I'm number 1. All right, Tesla at 200s. Again, their earnings call is about to start. Will they talk about Cybertruck success? Is the question. We got 5 minutes. Will they talk about Cybertruck success? I don't know. Will they? Chat, will they talk about the Cybertruck success? Will they talk about Cybertruck weakness? You know what Elon initially said, again, I've said this a bunch of times, but Elon initially said that the Cybertruck was not going to have a positive influence over their margins for years to come. Is he changing his tune slightly? Is there an updated expectation regarding the Cybertruck sales and impact on company? I don't know. We'll see. Kira sold all your Tesla shares when she was filling in this morning. Honestly, I wish she would have. You know, in hindsight, that would have been a better move. You know, one time when Tesla was at like $600 a share, Carol accidentally bought like 200 shares of it on stream with me. Freaked out, panicked. She actually made like $30 from the trade, but I was trying to teach her how to day trade, and she was supposed to buy 3 shares, or she was supposed to buy like a small share size, and she ended up buying a lot. And it went quick, but she made money. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things that you like to preface this interview. There's a couple things. Number one, Elon ain't the best public speaker. You know, we kind of know this already. You know, we kind of know this already, right? He's just not the best public speaker. You know, listen, sometimes I'm not even saying he's super smart. What I am saying, though, is that sometimes smart people are a little bit more quirky with how they speak, with public stuff, you know? And so, all right, here we go. We'll listen. All right, we got terrible hold music. Let's get this ready here. How are we gonna do this? I guess we just need audio. So you're saying the bar is low? Yes. I think you want to have that expectation moving into it. Carol, with her bad timing calls. Hey, baby, the earnings call starts in 3 minutes.
I was just going to tell you that I wanted to tell you that the chat asked me what I thought the market was going to do.
Yeah.
They asked me what I thought, and I said that I thought it was going to be down. Just wanted to tell you that.
Okay, so
I don't know
Carol,
if I was right or not.
Carol's calling me to brag, saying that the chat asked her what she thought the market would do, and she said it was going to this morning on the stream, and she apparently said it was going to drop. And that's what we got today. So good job, Carol. You were right. Congrats, baby. Nice call.
Yeah, see if anyone remembers that.
Carol wants to know, do y'all remember her amazing call earlier this morning? Guys, her amazing call. Tesla earnings call in 2.5 minutes, team. 2.5 minutes.
Anyways.
But yeah, good job, baby.
Yeah.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Carol calling the flex on us. Amazon at 157s. Let's see if it holds. W for Carol. Hey, good for her, man. I'm happy for her. Yeah. The wife is always right. That is true. Look, she's, I mean, but yeah. Where is Tesla going to end today's earnings call? What price is Tesla going to close today, guys? We got a minute and a half left. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on stream. You want to make sure you catch it. Again, you want to make sure your live button team looks like this. We got about 900 people here. We'll probably have more once the actual earnings call starts. We got about a minute left. You want to make sure your live button looks like this. It needs to be red, like this. All right, it needs to be red. If it's not red, you're delayed. You can also put it on 2x speed, but you know, if you want to keep caught up on stream, that's what you got to do. Tesla now under $200, under $200. Yeah, we'll see what happens. $45 seconds. 187, 196, 150, 198, 210, 194, 190, 223, 203, 240, 240 ain't happening. Unless they say something incredibly positive, it just probably ain't happening. William says 189. Yair says it'll probably go to October lows by the end of the call. Maybe. All right, 10 seconds, guys, 10 seconds. Let me turn this other music off. All right, so we got that off. Let's get the earnings call ready. All right, I'm gonna have to mute the sound until they come on with this. So we're waiting for them to start right now. Waiting for them to start. Earnings call in progress, guys. Earnings call in progress. All right, so again, we're waiting. They're still live. They haven't done anything yet. We're still waiting for them to go live here, team. They got some like really like Tron like hold music. Sounds like I'm about to enter the Matrix here and stuff. But we're waiting. All right, guys. You think he looks at the stock price before he goes on? Does he look at the stock price before it goes on? He probably does. I mean, let's be honest here. They probably have like a game plan in terms of this. All right, we're still waiting. They're late. Still waiting. Guys, still waiting. All right, we tried 2 different sources just to make sure we weren't lagging on any of them. All right, Elon, we're waiting for you to start, brother. We're waiting for you to start here, guys. All right, guys, we're waiting for Elon, for Tesla. Elon is never late. Elon is never late. You're just early. All right, look, we got a bunch of different sources on. You can hear kind of the, or you can't really hear the sound yet. It's bad hold music though, so don't worry. All right, so now they got some type of smoky sound going on. Nothing going on yet. Still techno music playing. Elon's forte. Patiently waiting here, guys. Yeah, the last one they were like 5 minutes late. All right, guys. So again, we're sitting back. Again, give me your last minute predictions. Tesla back up to almost 200 while we're waiting for the call to start. Waiting for this call to start. All right, still sitting back waiting for this to start. He couldn't find a Tesla charger, so he has to walk to the meeting. All right, here we go. All right, guys.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tesla's fourth quarter 2023 Q&A webcast. My name is Martin.
I'm going to switch this one.
Dave Aftaneja, and a number of other executives. Our Q4 results were announced at about 3 p.m. Central Time in the update deck we published at the same link as this webcast. During this call, we will discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. These comments are based on our predictions and expectations as of today. Actual events or results could differ materially due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those mentioned in our most recent filings with the SEC. During the question and answer portion of today's call, please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. Please use the raise hand button to join the question queue. But before we jump into Q&A, Elon has some opening remarks. Elon?
Thank you. So the Tesla team did an incredible job in 2023. We achieved record production and deliveries of over 1.8 million vehicles, in line with our official guidance. And in Q4, we're producing vehicles at an annualized run rate of almost 2 million cars a year. This was really a phenomenal achievement. Looking at just the Fremont factory alone, we made 560,000 cars. This is a record. In fact, it's the highest output automotive plant in North America. And people are often surprised that the highest output car factory in North America is in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's a little counterintuitive, perhaps. And it's really had an incredibly positive impact on that entire area. What would have been a rundown strip mall is the highest productivity car plant in the Americas. Think about that. It was derelict when we got it, and now it's the most productive plant in this entire part of the world. And it's enriched the community in so many different ways. It's really a gem. So I'm super proud of the people that work there. Model Y became the best-selling vehicle globally, as predicted. The best-selling vehicle of any kind, not just electric vehicles, with over 1.2 million units delivered. The energy storage business delivered nearly 15 gigawatt hours of batteries in 2023 compared to 6.5 gigawatt hours the year before. So tremendous year-over-year growth, triple digits. I think we'll continue to see very strong growth in storage. As predicted, I said for many years that the storage business would grow much faster than the car business, and it is doing that. Free cash flow remains strong at $4.4 billion in 2023 in spite of record spending on future projects. So we had record CapEx expenses as well as record R&D. This brings us to 2024. There's a lot to look forward to in 2024. Tesla is currently between two major growth waves. We're focused on making sure that our next growth wave, driven by next-gen vehicle, energy storage, full self-driving, and other projects, is executed as well as possible. For full self-driving, we've released version 12, which is a complete architectural rewrite compared to prior versions. This is end-to-end artificial intelligence. So another bit nets, basically photons in and controls out. And it really is quite a profound difference. This is currently just with employees and a few customers, but we will be rolling out to all customers in the US who request full self-driving in the weeks to come. That's over 400,000 vehicles in North America. So this is the first time AI is being used not just for object perception, but for path planning and vehicle controls. We replaced 330,000 lines of C++ code with neural nets. It's really quite remarkable. Sort of as a side note, I think Tesla is probably the most efficient company in the world for AI inference. Out of necessity, we've actually had to be extremely good at getting the most out of hardware, because hardware 3 at this point is several years old. So I think we're quite far ahead of any other company in the world in terms of AI inference efficiency, which is going to be a very important metric in the future in many arenas. So see, the new Model 3 is now available globally. So we did an updated Model 3. While the car looks similar, a lot of work has gone into the vehicle to make it better in every way. It is significantly quieter, more refined, better equipped, has longer range, and many other improvements. And I recommend taking it for a test drive. If you have not driven a Model 3 in a long time, you should really try the new one. So steady improvements. And we're very far along on our next generation low-cost vehicle. This is an earnings call, not a product announcement. So there'll no doubt be many questions that try to ask us about new products coming, but we reserve product announcements for product announcements, not earnings calls. So, but we're very excited about this, and this is really going to be profound, not just in its design of the vehicle itself, but in the design of the manufacturing system. This is a revolutionary manufacturing system, significant, far more advanced than any other automotive manufacturing system in the world, like by a significant margin. Several years ago, I said perhaps the most important competitive characteristic of Tesla in the future will be manufacturing technology, and you will really see that come to bear with our next-gen vehicle. The first manufacturing location for this will be at our Gigafactory and headquarters in Austin, Texas. And then we'll follow that up with other locations around the world. Probably the factory we'll build in Mexico will be second, and then we'll be looking to identify a third location, perhaps by the end of this year or early next, outside of North America. So, in conclusion, we had a great year with record production, record deliveries, and a strong free cash flow in spite of a very high interest rate environment. And we are focused on exciting new projects that will, I think, ultimately, if we execute on all these things, and it is very hard to do all these things, it's not a sure thing, but I do see a path where Tesla could one day be the most valuable company in the world. I do want to emphasize that is not an easy path, it's a very difficult one, but it is now in the set of possible outcomes. And previously, I would not have thought it is in the set of possible outcomes. So, thank you again to all of our investors, our employees, and our suppliers for a strong year, and looking forward to a great 2024 and years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. And our CFO, Vaibhav, have some opening remarks as well.
Thanks, Martin. Good afternoon, everyone. As Elon mentioned, we had a record year in terms of both production and deliveries for our auto business, as well as record deployments in our energy business. This was achieved despite 2023 being a challenging year in terms of higher interest rates and higher inflation. Big thanks to our customer for being with us through this challenging period. I would also like to thank the whole Tesla team for their resolve and dedication throughout. In terms of 2023 financials, we ended the year with over $96 billion of revenue and generated $4.4 billion of free cash flow to end the year with over $29 billion of cash and investments on hand. Our 2023 GAAP net income was impacted by the recognition of one-time non-cash benefit of $5.9 billion from the release of valuation allowance on certain deferred tax assets. This was due to our recent history of sustained profitability and is similar to several other companies who have recently gone through a similar change in their accounting. Accordingly, starting with Q1, our book tax rate will now be more in line with other companies in the S&P 500. In our vehicle business, we continue to see improvements in our per unit cost despite us being in the early phase of Cybertruck ramp. As a result, our auto gross margin improved sequentially. That said, predicting auto gross margins is extremely challenging since there are many moving parts to this equation, some of which are out of our control, like the change in tariffs or local incentives, to name a few. While the teams are focused on cost reductions, we are approaching the limits within our current platforms. On the demand front, as promised, we made investments in digital campaigns in 2023. We fully appreciate the importance of customer education as we are still in the customer acquisition phase. Our data suggests that around 90% of our vehicle buyers in 2023 never owned a Tesla before. We are being creative in figuring out ways to bring in new customers and educate them about the benefits of owning a Tesla versus gas-powered vehicles. The key among them being total cost of ownership. This concept is mostly overlooked for just the upfront cost. We will be rigorous in evaluating our campaigns, curating the content, and optimizing spend accordingly to support the overall demand. There are two additional things I would like to mention as it relates to the US market. First, for customers who qualify for the IRA buyer credit, we now offer that as a point of sale benefit for Model Y, which means an immediate reduction of $7,500 at the time of purchase to the end customer. Secondly, we continue to offer very attractive lease rates for Model 3 and Y using our partner leasing program. Note that the sales under this program are recognized as upfront revenue and reported within automotive sales. Our energy storage business had another record year with deployments more than doubling and revenues increasing by more than 50%. This business is poised to again surpass our auto business in terms of growth rate in 2024. This has been in the works for quite some time, with us laying the foundation a few years back by building our mega factory in Lathrop. I would like to thank the whole Tesla Energy team for their efforts to make this a reality. Our services and others business also started contributing meaningfully to our results and our fleets as our fleet goes, as we expect the fleet-based revenues from supercharging, used cars, and services to continue to increase. For 2024, our focus is to continue growing our output, continuing our cost reduction efforts, and increasing investments in our future growth initiatives. Accordingly, we are currently expecting our capital expenditure for 2024 to be in excess of $10 billion. We believe this would be critical in helping us lay the foundation for the next phase of growth. Once again, I would like to thank everybody at Tesla, our investors, and our suppliers for being with us in this journey. We can open it up to questions, Martin.
Thank you. Let's go through investor questions. Question number one is from Michael. Given that you moved the start of the next generation compact vehicle production to Austin, has the timeline improved so that we might see the next generation platform vehicles in 2025?
I mean, I would certainly say things with that should be taken with a grain of salt, since I'm often optimistic. With I don't want to blow your minds, but I'm often optimistic regarding time. But our current schedule says that we will start production towards the end of 2025, so sometime in the second half. That's just what our current schedule says. There's a lot of new technology, like a tremendous amount of new revolutionary manufacturing technology here. The reason I want to put this new revolutionary manufacturing line at Giga Texas was because we really need the engineers to be living on the line. This is not sort of a off the shelf, just works type of thing. And it's just a lot easier for Tesla engineering to live on the line if it's in Austin versus elsewhere. So, but we are currently expecting to start production second half next year. That will be a challenging production ramp. Like I can emphasize, we'll be sleeping on the line practically. In fact, not practically, we will be. But I am confident that once it is going, it will be head and shoulders above any other manufacturing technology that exists anywhere in the world. It's next level. So it's always difficult to predict what that S-curve of manufacturing looks like. So it always starts off real slow, and then it grows exponentially. And predicting that intermediate S-curve is difficult, but so I don't know. It's hard to say what the unit volume would be next year. We're not going to make any predictions on that front, but it does seem quite likely that we will start production next year.
Thank you. The next question is from Michael again. What has been the barrier to ramping 4680 cells into multi-million cells per week rate, and when do you expect to get there? Drew?
Yeah, first, I just want to allay any concerns regarding 4680 limiting the Cybertruck ramp, because I've seen some people commenting about that. To date, 4680 production is ahead of the ramp with actually weeks of finished cell inventory. And the goal is to keep it that way, not only for Cyber, but for our future vehicle programs. And as Elon said, it is an S-curve here too. Like it's hard to predict these things, but I'm just describing our goals.
It's a hard problem. Like,
yeah,
there are entire companies where all they do is make battery cells. That's like all they do.
Indeed,
Okay.
indeed.
We do a lot of other things, and we got a lot of breakthrough technologies that take time to figure out with 46. It's not just that it's a 46 millimeter diameter by 80 millimeter coil cell. That's just the diameter. That's just the dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tremendous amount of new technology in the cell itself.
And manufacturing technology.
Yes, exactly.
And just regarding what the team was able to do in Q4, Texas successfully swapped line 1 from the Model Y design of the cell to the Cybertruck design of the cell, which was the 10% cell energy increase I've mentioned before. And as with any major new product introduction, the factory and engineering teams collaborated to ensure quality of the new design and the process changes, as their first priority. And now our focus returns to cost and production ramp in Q1. In terms of what we're doing, we're currently running one production line, one assembly line, using two assembly lines in addition for yield and rate improvement trials. And we have a fourth in commissioning, and 4 more will be installed starting in Q3 this year. So definitely this is a big year for ramping 4680.
But we also do want to emphasize that we also expect to ramp orders from our suppliers.
Yep.
So this is not about replacing our suppliers, it's about supplementing our suppliers.
Yes.
So we are very appreciative of our suppliers. Panasonic obviously is our longest supplier. They're an amazing company. We've got CATL, we've got LG, and BYD. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from Adam. Should retail shareholders be concerned that Elon has stated that he's uncomfortable expanding AI and robotics at Tesla if he doesn't have 25% of voting?
This was on their end, just to clarify.
Yeah, I guess let me explain what my concern is here, which is that I see a path to creating an artificial intelligence and robotics juggernaut of truly immense capability and power. And my concern would be, I don't want to control it, but if I have so little influence over the company at that stage that I could sort of be voted out by some sort of random shareholder advisory firm. We've had a lot of challenges with institutional shareholder services, ISS, I call them ISIS, and Glass Lewis, which there's a lot of activists that basically infiltrate those organizations and have, strange ideas about what should be done. So, so I want to have enough to be influential. If we could do a dual class stock, that would be ideal. I'm not looking for additional economics. I just want to be an effective steward of very powerful technology. The reason I just sort of roughly picked approximately 25% was that's not so much that I can control the company, even if I go bonkers. And if I'm like mad, they can throw me out. But it's enough that I have a strong influence. That's what I'm aiming for, is a strong influence but not control. There's some way to achieve that would be great.
Thank you. The next question is, what is your expectation for automotive gross margin ex regulatory credits for the full year?
Like I said in my opening remarks, we're focused on reducing the cost of our vehicles. This is a very extensive and involved exercise whereby we look at not just the component cost but down to the packaging used to get the materials to the production floor. Each element of the cost is scrutinized to optimize further. A few pennies saved at the subcomponent level, whether through engineering redesign or from many other things which I mentioned, leads to cost reduction. This is a constant exercise, and we just have to chase down every penny possible. We have a strong team which is hyper-focused on this. However, this is a very difficult thing to predict precisely because there are a lot.
We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball, so it's difficult for us to predict this with precision. If the interest rates come down quickly, I think margins will be good, and if they don't come down quickly, they won't be that good. Yeah. It's always important to remember that the vast majority of people buying a car is about the monthly payment. It's not that people don't want. We have tons of we have lots of people who want to buy our car but simply cannot afford it. That as interest rates drop and that monthly payment drops, then they're able to afford it and they buy the car. It's pretty straightforward, and there are no tricks around to get around this.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, does the company anticipate 50% volume CAGR to be realized in either 2024 or 2025? If not, why not?
As we have said in our prior guidance, there will be periods where we won't be growing at the same rate as before. We are between two major growth waves. The first one began with the global expansion of Model 3 and Y. And we believe the next one will be initiated with the next generation platform. In 2024, our volume growth will be lower, as we have said, because we're trying to focus the team on the launch of the next generation vehicle.
All right. Thank you very much. The next question is from Michael. When will Tesla start construction on the Giga Nevada expansion and Giga Mexico? And when can we expect each of these to produce their first products, such as 4680 cells, semi, and the next-gen vehicles?
We have recently broken ground for the next phase of Giga Nevada expansion to incorporate semi and other projects. But as said earlier, as regarding Mexico, we want to first demonstrate success with the next generation platform in Austin before we start construction. Therefore, we have started the long lead work to get the basics ready and plan to follow our recipe from the 3Y ramp with Shanghai, where we started with learnings from Fremont and ramped really quickly.
Yeah, exactly. It's important to emphasize that, Model 3 production was 3 years of hell, honestly, before. Some of the worst years of my life, frankly. I still have mental scar tissue from those 3 years, as do many. But then Model Y was, somewhat of a variant on Model 3, so a much easier situation. And then we were able to actually do slightly improved versions of, in some cases, significantly improved versions of the Model Y production line in Shanghai and Berlin. And that's the right. I think the sensible way to go about things is kind of figure out the core technology of the manufacturing line and then replicate it with improvements throughout the world. So.
Thank you. The next question from Michael is, has there been any progress made with an FSD licensing agreement with another company?
I really think lots of car companies should be asking for FSD licenses, but and we've had some tentative conversations, but I think they don't believe it's real quite yet. I think that will become obvious probably this year. And I do want to emphasize that if I were CEO of another car company, I would definitely be calling Tesla and asking to license Tesla full self-driving technology. It's definitely the smart move.
Thank you. The next question from Siddharth. What is the timeline for Optimus' first production of a volume production line, and what are the barriers to getting there?
Optimus obviously is a very new product, an extremely revolutionary product, and something that I think has the potential to far exceed the value of everything else that Tesla combined. And when you think of an economy is productivity per capita times capita. But what if there's no limit to capita? There's no limit to the economy. And the technologies the AI technologies we've developed for the car translate quite well to a humanoid robot, because the car is just a robot on 4 wheels. Tesla is arguably already the biggest robot maker in the world. It's just a 4-wheeled robot. So Optimus is a humanoid robot with arms and legs. It's by far the most sophisticated humanoid robot that's being developed anywhere in the world. I think we've got a good chance of shipping some number of Optimus units next year. But like I said, this is a brand new product. A lot of uncertainty. When there's a lot of uncertainty and you're in uncharted territory, it's obviously impossible to make a precise prediction. But we will be updating the public with progress on Optimus every few months, and you can see that it's advancing very quickly. I was just in the Optimus lab actually until late last night, get to like midnight or something, and finally left the Optimus lab. The team's doing amazing work. That's obviously a case where we want to make sure that Optimus is safe, especially at scale, and that there's no. It should be impossible for any centralized control to upload malware to a humanoid robot. So we're going to want to build in localized shutoff that cannot be updated from the from a central server. That's a case where we really have to give extreme thought to safety. But like I said, I do think it has the potential to be the most valuable product of any kind ever, by far.
Just to comment on the barrier, I think the barrier, and we've talked about this, is like getting it to actually do something useful. Like we can get it to walk around, we can get it to do things, but it's like that utility part.
We can already do some useful things.
But like,
Yeah.
to making millions of these things, it's like utility. Got to get the utility up.
Yeah. A smart robot that can do that's capable of doing generalized tasks is what it will be. And in terms of doing, moderately specialized tasks, well, it can already do that, and it'll just get better through the course of the year. As we improve the technology in the car, we improve the technology in Optimus at the same time. It runs the same AI inference computer that's on the car. Same training technology. We're really building the future. The Optimus lab looks like the set of Westworld. But admittedly, that was not a super utopian situation.
Yeah, not the best reference.
Yeah, the creators of Westworld, Jonah Nolan, Lisa Joy Nolan, old friends of mine actually, and I invited them to come see the lab. I think they'll come see it hopefully soon. It's pretty wild, especially the sort of subsystem test stands where you've just got like one leg on a test stand, just doing repetitive exercises, and one arm on a test stand. Pretty wild. Yeah.
We're not entering Westworld anytime soon.
Right. We're going to take safety very, very seriously.
Thank you. The next question from Nermin is, how many Cybertruck orders are in the queue, and when do you anticipate to be able to fulfill existing orders?
First of all, I want to thank all the Cybertruck reservation holders for their patience. The reservation to order conversion rate so far has been very, very encouraging. If the trend continues, as it's very likely to be, we will soon sort out all the builds in 2024. And also, we have new orders coming after the launch. The order numbers keep growing. So we're now all hands on deck focused on ramping, so we can fulfill all the demands in a reduced wait time.
Yeah, it's important to emphasize that this is very much a production constrained situation, not a demand constrained situation. And we, obviously, we could dramatically raise the price, but that doesn't feel right to us to sort of gouge people for for early delivery. But really the demand is off the hook. As long as the price is affordable, I see us ultimately delivering on the order of something like 250,000 Cybertrucks a year in North America, but maybe more, but give or take, roughly on that time frame. And it sure is a head turner.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go, people look at you.
Yeah.
They give you thumbs up.
Yeah, it's like finally the future looks like the future. Yep. or the other trucks on the road there, and there's some very good trucks on the road, but if you were to switch out the brand name, you wouldn't hardly know which company made them, but you definitely would know the Cybertruck. That's our best product ever.
All right, thank you. The next question is, can we get Tesla energy volumes reported in the production and delivery release?
Yeah, we will strive to do so starting from this quarter. And just a brief update from the business perspective. Megapack continues to see strong demand signals globally, driving consistent growth trajectory through 24 and 25. We want to thank all of our partners who've put their trust in the Megapack team to execute on critical infrastructure around the world. And I would like to personally thank the Megapack engineering and production teams for their strong 2023 execution. Lathrop continues to ramp through 2024 with the operation of a second final assembly line to double capacity from 20 to 40 gigawatt hours by the end of the year.
Thank you. And the last investor question is from Siddharth. What are the preliminary results on return on investment of your ads and education campaign? Given that many people still lack awareness, the Tesla average price is less than the average non-luxury car price of $45,000. Will you expand educational ads?
As Elon mentioned, the ultimate solution to increase EV adoption is really address the affordability issue. But at the same time, we do aware there's an awareness issue as well. So in Q4, we ran a series of digital campaigns, very targeted digital campaigns across different geos and different channels. The target of these tests is really just to drive awareness and ultimately measure the return of investment on those digital channels. And the messaging we're driving is really focused on our product and also try to address some of the misconception of the EV, such as safety, affordability. In one particular awareness campaign we run in Texas, we reached the audience about 10 million unique viewers and generated close to 500,000 visits to our website. A large number of these viewers are first-time visitors to our site. The traffic through these digital channels actually behaved very similar to those organic traffic come to our website. So going forward, we're just going to keep exploring different channels and doing our trials to get a better understanding of this effectiveness of these digital campaigns.
Yeah, but I would also like to caution that we'll be very careful that we don't want to overspend on this side. We want to make sure people are aware, but that's where we'll keep tweaking our methodology about how and where we spend the money, because we understand the importance of increasing awareness, but at the same token, we don't want to spend a lot of money on just creating awareness.
Yeah, I mean, there are some geographies where our market share is remarkably low, like Japan, for example. Now, we also need to make sure that we have superchargers in the right locations and the service centers are there and the product works well in Japan. But Japan is the third largest car market in the world of any country. So, and we should at least have a market share proportionate to, say, other non-Japanese car makers like Mercedes or BMW, which we do not currently have. So I think that's the case. And when I talk to friends of mine in Japan, they're like, there is like quite a lack of awareness of Tesla. So, that's a case where we definitely need to increase awareness in countries and regions where there is, not that much awareness.
Thank you. Let's go to analyst questions. The first question comes from Pierre Ferragu from New Street Research. Pierre, go ahead, please. Feel free to unmute. Pierre, can you hear us?
Okay. Well, it's really tough to find the unmute button on Teams, guys. I'm sorry for being late. So yes, my question would be, on like the cost reduction. You've talked about it already a lot, and if I look at it over the last like 5-6 quarters on average, the COGS per car has been coming down like more than 2% sequentially on average. So that means you're like on a trajectory of COGS per car going down 10% a year. So that's probably like unheard of in the auto industry. I don't think any car manufacturer ever achieved that. But that's very, very mundane and it's a good performance, but it's a very normal performance in a lot of other manufacturing industry like microelectronics or consumer electronics. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts about whether you consider yourself closer to the latter, to like a microelectronics business where you have this ability to actually always improve costs, you have more control on how things are pulled together into your fabs, and you see yourself sustainably taking costs down with that kind of pace, or do you think your ability to take down cost is actually going to become more like in line with the rest in the industry over time?
Yeah, I think I've covered this in a pretty lengthy detail, even in my opening remarks and in a previous question. But to just further clarify, we are constantly looking for what we can do to reduce costs. And like I said, it's a game of pennies. We've talked about it before as well. And the team is constantly going and checking where can we reduce the cost further. And do I believe that we will have the same pace which you've seen over the past few years? Probably not, because remember, we were coming out with a period wherein commodity prices were rising. So then we did see benefits coming from that. So those are more or less, taken care of. But there is more which we're still chasing. And, I would say a big kudos goes to the team out here at Tesla, both the engineering team as well as the supply chain team, because every time we give them a challenge, they go gangbusters to try and figure out whatever they can to take out further cost. But yes, I would want to caution that do not project the previous cost reduction at the same pace completely in the future, because with our current platform, we are getting to a place wherein, there are limitations.
Yeah, the increased scale also sort of helps us there. As we introduce new products, we have the opportunity to go renegotiate existing suppliers for better pricing. We're looking at every penny, like Vaibhav and Elon mentioned. Just to give you an example, our inbound logistics cost has come down by 22% year over year. And this is because of optimization on using returnable packaging as opposed to cardboard, which is even better for the environment. Optimizing trucking routes, negotiating better pricing with shipping companies, with trucking companies, going with full truckloads, and just doing that sort of. The bigger we become, the more we put thought into these things, and the more efficient we become as a result of it. So those work streams are going to continue.
And we are also getting into the tiers of supply chain to see if there are opportunities.
Yeah.
Getting into the tier 2s, tier 3, tier 4 levels, and then negotiate those pricing as well to get more efficiency out of the system.
And then on the design side, we're not static, right? Like, especially in areas where the technology is still improving rapidly. Power electronics is a great example. We continue to bring improvements there that are like fundamentals, sort of driven from the device up, that result in cost reductions generation over generation, and they don't only go into the new vehicles; they come to the old vehicles as well. So that's closer to what you were talking about with like the microelectronics space. Some of that exists in the vehicle.
Yeah, certainly our car is more computer than car in many ways, and has a lot of new tech over the last 100 years of automotive production that everyone trying to scrape pennies from.
We have a crazy amount of computing in our cars compared to anyone else.
Yeah,
It's like orders of magnitude.
and we get to ride that down, right?
Maybe 1,000 times more. I don't know, some nutty number.
I mean, like if I just look at the main microcontroller that makes the motor go, for example, like when I think about what it cost when we stuck it in a Roadster in 2006, and what it costs now, I mean, it's like there's no comparison.
Yeah.
So we've definitely been riding that electronics cost wave.
Yeah.
And then even on the like what you call traditional vehicle side, we do things that no other automakers do to bring costs down through breaking down, the way structures are built and the way we put our cars together. And I think that mindset that we have is very much closer to the micro processor or power electronics industry than the automotive industry.
Thank you. Pierre, do you have a follow-up?
Great. Yes, a quick one. It's you mentioned this like phase in which you are between two big growth periods. I'd love to hear you about what you consider the size of your addressable market with the portfolio you have today, like the 3, the Y, the X, and the S. What's your estimate of your addressable market? You're shipping like probably about like a 2 million unit run rate today. And given the price points of these cars, what kind of market share of what you address with these cars do you think you've already achieved today?
I don't know if anybody. I actually don't think we have a firm
Yeah, I'm like,
idea of this. It's hard to say exactly.
yeah, I won't say one way to think about it is look at the automotive industry as well. EVs still contribute a very small market share. So yes, our goal is to try and take as much market share out of that pie. But, do I have a specific number to give you? I don't think we can say that with certainty.
And it's a growing pie as well.
Exactly.
It's 9% today, but it could be 20% in a couple of years or in the future.
Yeah.
And certainly, like the way we've looked at it, and we've always said this, it's not about how many EVs you sell, it's how many great cars you can sell, how many vehicles you can sell. And that market's, 100 million a year. And, we're barely 2% of that. I still think there's 98% more to get.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth noting that if you look at, say, the average selling price of the other top-selling vehicles in the world, they are much lower priced than a Model Y.
Yeah.
So like a Toyota RAV4 or Corolla, Honda Civic, that kind of thing, they're much lower priced than ours. So people are really stretching their wallets to be able to afford a Tesla. It's quite a difficult thing for them to do, and remarkable that it's the best-selling car in unit volume, despite being much more expensive than other high-volume cars.
Thank you. Let's go to the next analyst. The next question comes from Adam Jonas from Morgan Stanley.
Hey, everybody. So I can't wait to see the Optimus Lab. I'm sure everybody on this call feels the same way. Your last AI day, Elon, was September 2022. Can we expect a Tesla AI day this year? It seems like a lot's changed in that realm. And is this year the time?
Yeah, it's a good question. We have found that when we do these AI days, some of our competitors literally look at what we do on a frame-by-frame basis.
They do.
And then we find these things being copied.
Same thing with Battery Day.
Same thing with Battery Day. So we have to be a little cautious about, revealing the exact recipe of the secret sauce. But I think some kind of update would be good to do. I'll talk it over with the team, and I think we might do something later this year. Our main goal with these AI Day things is recruiting. So
Yes.
and to sort of change the perception of Tesla as people think of Tesla as a car company when they should be thinking of Tesla as an AI robotics company.
Mm-hmm. Maybe as a follow-up, Elon, I'd love your thoughts on the topic of China-based OEMs expanding into Western markets as the China market kind of gets saturated and there's a tremendous growth in the supply. How much success should Tesla investors allow for this competition to achieve in Western markets? And can you envision a scenario where Tesla could partner with a Chinese OEM to help accelerate sustainable transport in markets like Europe and the United States? Thanks.
Well, our observation is generally that the Chinese car companies are the most competitive car companies in the world. So I think they will have significant success outside of China, depending on what kind of tariffs or trade barriers are established. Frankly, I think if there are not trade barriers established, they will pretty much demolish most other car companies in the world. So they're extremely good. We don't see an obvious opportunity to partner. Certainly we're happy to, except on the supercharger front, we're obviously happy to give any electric car company access to our supercharger network. We're also happy to license full self-driving, perhaps license other technologies, and anything that could be helpful in advancing the sustainable energy revolution.
Thank you. And the next question comes from Ben Levi from Barclays.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for taking the questions. First, I'm wondering if you can just walk through some of the gating factors required to unlock your next-gen platform. You talked about a number of cost initiatives back at the Investor Day a year ago, things in manufacturing and powertrain. Maybe you can just give us a sense of where these initiatives stand. And do you believe it? We know that there's a number of new features and technologies in Cybertruck, things like 48-volt architecture, and really employing your 4680 batteries. To what extent do you think Cybertruck is really a proving ground for the next-gen platform and is really going to be a gating factor to unlocking the cost reductions needed for the next-gen platform?
Yeah, I don't think that anything on Cybertruck should be considered gating for the next gen platform. We're obviously doing a lot of manufacturing innovation, as Elon said, for a next generation vehicle. When you do something at that scale, you have to prove it out. You don't just throw it on the line and just build it. So we're going through those validation phases for all of those new manufacturing technologies now. I'm sure 48 volt was definitely something we wanted to carry forward, and it's something we hope the industry adopts as well. We're also open to partnering on that if everyone wants to do that.
Finally, man, but people that really know that this is like the inside baseball thing, but 48, it's so high time that the auto industry moved from the random number of 12 to 48.
Random number of 48.
Yeah, well, it's much less random.
Slightly less random based on human injury, but
dramatically reduces the amount of copper you need in the vehicle, and and also moving to a sort of higher bandwidth communications, sort of Ethernet level communications opposed to CAN bus, which is pretty slow. So it's really just bringing cars to
the 21st century.
Yeah, pretty much.
So like certainly like
it's not exactly, it's like normal for a laptop.
Yeah. Certainly bringing that is an evolution in our architectures of vehicles, but it's not gating by any means. The gating work is just to finish the design and manufacturing of the car, test them out, and get them going.
Yeah, I mean, programs in execution mode, right?
Yep.
Right. So it's talking about like tooling lead time, manufacturing
Factory lead
equipment factory lead time, and executing those programs.
There's a lot of specialized machines that make the machine for a next gen vehicle. So these are not machines you can just order from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
We have to design a machine that has never existed to build a car in a way that has never existed.
Yeah, so you don't just have like a design validation phase, but you have an equipment design validation phase as well.
It does make it very hard to copy us because you have to copy the machine that makes the machine that makes the machine. So,
talk about tiers.
It's not, it's like, exactly, manufacturing exception. So, I do think it's quite a powerful sustainable advantage because there just is no place to go to order the machines that make our next gen car that don't exist.
Great, thank you. As a follow-up, your release does not mention Dojo, so if you could just provide us an update on where Dojo stands and at what point you expect Dojo to be a resource in improving FSD, or do you think that you now have sufficient supply of NVIDIA GPUs needed for the training of the system?
I mean, the AI hardware question is that is a deep one. So we're obviously hedging our bets here with significant orders of NVIDIA GPUs, or GPUs are the wrong word. There really needs to be, you can't like produce graphics. So it's not a graphics processing unit, neural net processing unit or something like that. Yeah, GPU is a funny word, like vestigial. So, and a lot of our progress in self-driving is training limited. Something that's important with training, it's much like a human. The more effort you put into training, the less effort you need in inference. So just like a person, if you train in a subject, the sort of classic 10,000 hours, the less mental effort it takes to do something. If you remember when you first started to drive, how much of your mental capacity it took to drive, you had to be focused completely on driving. Then after you've been driving for many years, it only takes a little bit of your mind to drive, and you can think about other things and still drive safely. So the more training you do, the more efficient it is at the inference level. So we do need a lot of training. And we're pursuing the dual path of NVIDIA and Dojo. But I would think of Dojo as a long shot. It's a long shot worth taking because the payoff is potentially very high, but it's not something that is a high probability. It's not like a sure thing at all. It's a high risk, high payoff program. But Dojo is working, and it is doing training jobs. So, and we're scaling it up, and we have plans for Dojo 1.5, Dojo 2, Dojo 3, and whatnot. So, I think it's got potential, but I can't emphasize enough: high risk, high payoff. So, I think it still makes sense given the, even if it's a low probability of success with a very high. I think anyway. I'm belaboring the subject. It's a very interesting program. It has the potential for something special. There's also our inference hardware in the car. So we're now on what's called hardware 4, but it's actually version 2 of the Tesla designed AI inference chip. And we're about to complete design of, the terminology is a bit confusing. We're about to complete design of hardware 5, which is actually version 3 of the Tesla design chip, because the version 1 was Mobileye, version 2 was NVIDIA, and then version 3 was Tesla. So, and we're making gigantic improvements with, from hardware 3 to 4 to 5. There's a potentially interesting play where, when cars are not in use in the future, that the in-car computer can do generalized AI tasks, can run a sort of, GPT 4 or 3 or something like that. If you've got tens of millions of vehicles out there, even in a robotaxi scenario where they're in heavy use, maybe they're used 50 out of 168 hours. That still leaves, well over 100 hours of time available of compute hours. It's possible, with the right architectural decisions, that Tesla may in the future have more compute than everyone else combined.
Thank you. And the next question comes from Colin Langham from Wells Fargo.
Oh, great. Thanks for taking my questions. As we're thinking about going into 2024, the press release talks about hitting 36,000 or slightly above in Q4. And the comments of the release talk about approaching the natural limits, and it sounds like you're continuing to try to whittle that away, but that sort of implies there's not much left. In addition, you have the hourly wage increase, I guess, so we'll add to that into next year. And I thought you said raw material costs are that benefit is sort of almost played out. So is there an opportunity to continue to go below the 36, or should we kind of be modeling that it kind of stays at this level into 24?
We are definitely aware of the cost increases which are coming through because of the wage increases. But like I said, we keep looking at other cost opportunities and try and figure out where else can we cut down. So there is definitely more opportunity to bring down costs further. I won't specifically guide to a number, which we will try and get to, but there's definitely more opportunity there.
Yeah, we're chasing lots of cost opportunities on the design side still for 2024. North of 8 figures is what we're worth of, just in my organization, and Lars has got a bunch. And then from a commodities perspective, it's such a long
lead
cycle time through the whole material supply chain that even with what we've already seen to this point, there's more to come on commodities reductions.
And there's still some tailwind left on the commodity.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And aluminum and steel.
Yeah.
And battery materials.
It boggles my mind to think that if we make a 1% improvement in costs, that's $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, on average, if we reduce the cost by 1 penny, $1 billion. What? And we started off, wasn't that long ago, that we're only making like 10 cars a week. Yeah. So where does it lead ultimately? With good execution, like I said, it's not a slam dunk, but with, if we execute very well, I think Tesla could be the most valuable company in the world.
Thank you. Colin, do you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. In the commentary, you mentioned the taxes would go to the S&P 500 level. I think you've been trending slightly below 10%. S&P, I think it's typically 25%ish. Is that going to, should we expect that to jump right up next year when we're modeling next year? Or would it be like a gradual change over the next few years? And any cash impact from that tax change as well that we should be considering?
Yeah, so there's no impact on cash taxes from the release of the valuation allowance, which I spoke about. What it does is it's how you account for taxes on your books. So it's basically an accounting change, wherein there are certain jurisdictions, because we had enough NOLs, etc., wherein we didn't have to accrue book taxes. Now that the valuation allowance has been released and we have recognized deferred tax assets on the books, that means your tax rate immediately goes up.
Okay. I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for all of your questions, and we'll speak to you again in 3 months.
All right, guys, so that is the end of today's earnings call. Let me make sure we don't have some really bad techno music about to play. I think we do have some really bad techno music. Let me know what you guys thought about that. Again, Tesla stock sitting right around where it was, slightly down, though. We are down a little bit from this report. Again, with that said, though, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close the stream down. I've been streaming this thing for 4 freaking hours. So if you haven't already, again, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, again, check out my sponsors. One of them is Top Step. What they do is they give you a demo account, and you trade on a demo account. And if you can pass the challenge of that demo account in day trading, then they fund you between 50 to 150K with a 90% split. They got free funding coaches, a ton of great resources in a community. And it really just taking that challenge on a demo account, but still having some pressure to succeed, massively builds skill, massively helps with trading results, in my opinion. And again, test it out yourself. It's $50. If you lose, it's not the end of the world. But again, a really good way to learn how to trade. I'll put this link up. Again, great way to help support the channel is by checking out Top Step. They are a sponsor of mine, but it really is a solid way. Like, I lost thousands of dollars when I first got started day trading, and I think this is just a way to mitigate that risk, have a limited risk versus potentially risking thousands of dollars. And I think most day traders lose, but this is a much cheaper way to lose. And so if you want to check it out, great way to learn. There's the link. We have some earnings tomorrow. The other one of my sponsors is a company called Chart Prime. It is a trading view indicator service that you can use in stocks, Forex, futures, whatever you want to use it on. Really solid. Like, I think if you want to go back in time and look at some of these, nice little calls this thing has done, like, you can kind of just check back and look at the strong signals and look at how well these work. So here's the S&P right? So let's just look at the last 3. And again, I can't guarantee you're going to make money. Nobody can, not an investment professional. But look at the short signal here. Beautiful breakdown. You can see it identify that trend. Strong buy signal here. And this is a 5-minute chart. So this is hours. Sell signal here. Nice little dip. You can keep going back. I can put up like the NASDAQ. And we can see what it did on the NASDAQ as well today if you guys want to check this out. Again, there's so much stuff that they offer. They offer a screener and a back tester and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, I'm just kind of pulling this up blind. I didn't see this before. But again, look at the sell signal here. Beautiful dip afterwards. Strong buy signal here. Beautiful bounce. This one probably failed. This one definitely worked. This one worked a little bit, it looks like. But yeah, I mean, again, very powerful stuff. You can use this on anything with a symbol. I can pull up Tesla here. And again, I can't guarantee you're going to make money. Nobody can. Here's Tesla chart. Let's see what it showed up today. This is a 5-minute chart. Remember, 5-minute chart. But even this, like, look at how powerful it is on Tesla. So, like, look, just testing this yourself. Again, strong signal, boom. Buy signal, rip. Sell signal, dip. Buy signal, bounce, you know, so forth and so on. Some of these were wrong, but again, genuinely impressive. I think the key is you got to wait for high volume times. With high volume times like this, it can just be really impressive, really impressive. And so again, if you want to check it out, it's a company called Chart Prime, trading view service. You could use the stocks, Forex, futures. I'll put this link up. Great way to help support the channel. There's a lot. There's so much. It's like $40 a month if you use my link. You can check that out here. Again, guys, I'll see you guys later. Y'all be safe. Be good in markets. And we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we have GDP data, jobless claims, durable good orders, and a bunch of other stuff. So I'll see you guys then. Good luck. Be safe. Later, team.